What's up, YouTube world? Steve, Dave, episode number 56. Chris Dolman of the Insert Revolution podcast. Tonight we're going to be talking about Breaking Point in several different various forms, questions, and we'll see where it goes. This is one that it's a topic. It's not one that we're going to be sitting and probably talking 2 hours on. But at the same time, it's something that's interesting because a lot of different collectors, you can get pushed so far, or you can just you get the short fuse. It's just like fuck that, I get away, boom, and you're Jean-Claude Van Damming everybody, and it's over. I mean, people, you just don't care after one incident or one something that straw that breaks the proverbial camel's back. So we'll go through that. I don't know if we'll hit the 3 hours 8 minutes. I have got an absolute horseshit headache. Thus why anybody, including you, Yannick, I've not done any comps for the cards yet. It's Tuesdays are horrendous. Work is longer. Pick up the daughter with like seconds to spare, and then try to shower and get all the family time in and all that stuff. And right now I've had a headache basically for about 28 hours. The help of my friends Excedrin and or Advil, and they helped a little. Right now it is not as bad as it was yesterday afternoon. That was literally, that had to be some sort of migraine where I couldn't open my eyes. So,
we'll we could also bring up the breaking point of our trusted viewers reaching the breaking point of waiting for us to go live.
we've gotten better. It's still, today was probably about 5-7 minutes. That's not terrible. What's going on, Foxy? But those times before when we first started, it's like we were 20 minutes, close to a half hour, and the Hawks game didn't go into overtime, or the Braves didn't go into extra innings, so it should have started on time. But we'll go through all those that topic or that line of thinking, and just see where it goes from there. The usual, again, stuff that's serious but not too serious. But first, I will say, before we get to our sponsor, what made the day even shittier for me, R.I.P. Norm Macdonald. I've talked on here. We've had discussions many a time off air. By far my favorite comedian, and not just like in the last year or two. I mean, this guy's been, since SNL, one of my favorites. And even looking at like him in the special on Netflix, and then I think, what was it, Cars and Coffee. I think it's another series that Jerry Seinfeld's got, where he drives around in like old cars and they go to like a little diner and just have coffee or a little breakfast and chat and BS. He was on that, and you could tell, and even Tristan and I discussed this, it's like he didn't look 100%. He just looked a little pale. He looked a little just like run down, and like he's one of those guys that's not going to tell anybody. Cancer for 9 years, he didn't say it. Nobody knew. And Michael, this film not yet rated, messaged me about 2:30 and said that, and I was on the shitter at work, and I'm like, oh, just don't tell. Oh, that's not because I'm there, but I'm at work. I'm like, I can't ball at work because of that. And I'm just like, this sucks. And I told my brother, and he's like, oh, so I had to tell my brother Jordy Jordanson last month or a month and a half ago, and then his favorite drummer by leaps and bounds. And then he also a huge Norm Macdonald fan. So R.I.P. to Norm for the humor that not a lot of folks out there can master the humor that you have a few people that absolutely are pissing themselves because it's so funny. And others are just like, what the hell did he just say? I don't get it. That's when you go from like that, like ha ha ha, you're Belushi and Candy and Farley when you can do physical funny. You jump up to the intellectual funny, where you're not being like overly intellectual. You're not dropping like 7-syllable words. You're just telling a story, and people just, some get it, some don't. I loved it. I got it. And we just talked. Michael said it. We were just talking about him. What, a Sunday ago, when our comedian rambles for about 45 minutes on our chats, and I'd said then I'd give my left nut, I'd give cards, whatever it took to go see Norm, go meet him. Well, a little over a week later, harkens back to our previous discussions many a time, either on here, sometimes in our own videos, sometimes just posts or whatever we make. If you've got the chance to see people you like, people you respect, people you admire, people you value, celebrities, family, whatever the case may be, do not wait. Do not sit and be like, there's going to be there's going to be tomorrow. I can't remember who sang it. It's a country song. I think it's got to be Garth or George Strait or somebody. What if tomorrow never comes? And
That's Garth Brooks.
So the tomorrow won't come to see Norm Macdonald, but thankfully there's enough stuff out there. I always say it, talking about Norm. Watch the Bob Saget roast on Comedy Central. If you don't soil yourself for some of his jokes, I mean, again, it's no worries, but that I couldn't contain myself in that one. That was one of his many shining moments. So R.I.P. Norm, you will definitely be missed. We got Yingling again, our sponsor.
Yeah, it was salute. Yeah, it's one of those in which, like you say, you never know what tomorrow holds. And if given opportunities, put your best foot forward, do what you can to make sure that, at least at a minimum, if you can't see somebody, let them know you're thinking about them, that you care about them in some shape, form, or fashion. That's more directed at family and friends and those that are close to you. But at the same time, don't keep putting off opportunities for other situations and scenarios. Dave, you and I have talked about it on multiple occasions of missing out on opportunities to go see some of your favorite wrestlers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time, it was like, okay, the opportunity kind of presented itself potentially.
Mm-hmm.
And by then it was too late. So, and let's face it, folks, we're not getting any younger. I mean, Norm was not old by any stretch of the imagination. 61 is still young. But at the same time, you don't ever know what somebody is going through, whether it be health-wise, personal, mental, just because they're in the public eye. There are some that are very private, and, as a prime example, he was definitely one who was very private, and only those closest to him knew what was going on. So it's been I won't say it's been a tough day, because it's one of those in which, and I hate to say it, we're all getting older, and the older we get, the more and more things like this happen. It's a part of life, but still doesn't make it any easier to deal with. especially if it's, a favorite comedian, favorite actor, favorite drummer, from your favorite band. It crosses so many spectrums. So it sucks.
Yeah, and then like you said, wrestling, that's probably the worst thing to ever like, because especially in like the 80s, if you liked it, if you grew up and it sunk its fangs into you and injected you with that lethal dose of poison, if you continue to like it through mid 2000s, even then you had to deal with death constantly. It's still happening. Daphne from WCW, later run with Devon Storm up in the north, but Crowbar, as he was named in WCW, and then David Flair, who I believe is also gone, Ric Flair's son. They were all together in WCW, and I believe Devon Storm's the last one left. So I always say it: if people will listen, if you need help, it's tough because I've been in those situations where the mind is a cruel, cruel, cruel friend or an enemy. So telling somebody, yeah, there's people there to get help, there's people to help you, that's one thing. Having that person, it's not overcome, but just mentally battle to go that direction to any other direction. That's always the hell are you doing down there? Jesus. Pinwheel on your phone or what?
Struggling. Like, I think this is the first time he's ever tried to do this.
I'm using a phone, and nothing's working right.
Really? You don't say.
No. Now I have to reset my headset because it doesn't want to cooperate, so I can't hear you. So you can talk
That's
all the
probably
crap
good.
you want now.
Well, we'll do it then, and we'll do it now when you got your earbuds in.
Right? Do we need to pull you down briefly? Because obviously it seems, it's either Dave or myself. We're having connectivity issues because we keep kind of going back and forth. I keep seeing the connection bar keeps kind of coming into the stream from time to time. So it's been an interesting evening, to say the least.
I can hear you on this ear, but not on that ear.
Well, as long as you have one ear, that's sufficient.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's your good ear.
Yeah.
It is.
Just like Meatloaf saying about 1 out of 2 ain't bad.
There we
So
go.
why on the phone? Why not the laptop? Were you?
It's not charged, and it was not cooperating. So I will go with this method.
We'll see. This could be a train wreck. So everybody may reach their breaking point after this episode, and they may never come back.
Just unsubscribe and
Well, I will. Jeez, Dave. Ay, 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 ay. Anyways, I'll let that sink in with everybody briefly. So, Dave, I always know your day is kind of crap on Tuesday, but I can't say that my day was bad. But today was the first day I stepped foot in my office building in over 18 months. So they're consolidating our office, of course. We had too much space. We took up 2 floors, so they're consolidating us from the third floor to the second floor. So I had to go move my crap from my one cubicle to my new cubicle, if you even want to call it that. It's got the open floor plan, so like you turn around and you look and you see to the edge of the building type situation. There's really no privacy. And I have to say, so we sold one of our business units sometime last year. Okay.
Hmm.
And they are subletting some of the building space from us until they either decide to move or whatever it may be. So in doing so, they like move some people around. So I get to my desk and there's an individual that's sitting where another employee used to sit some time ago. Mind you, I don't have a whole lot of stuff to move. That's not anything that I really ever had to deal with. But I'm pulling all my stuff out of my drawers and all this other kind of stuff. And this guy turns around and he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, that all that stuff down there, that's Jay's." So this guy who took over Jay's desk decided to move all his shit and stick it in like the shelves underneath my desk, and then got crap mixed up. I almost want to tell him, dude, seriously, could you have like not stacked his crap in a box or something and left it in the same space?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to deal with that today, which was so pleasant, let me tell you. But yeah, first time in 18 months. Traffic sucked this morning. It took me about an hour and 10 minutes to get there. I was one of three of the company I work for, one of three employees that was there in the building. I think there was 9 cars in the parking lot. So yeah, interesting to say the least.
Have they still, or have you guys come up with a schedule yet? Like the 2 there, 3 off, whatever the case may be, or the 2 there, 3 at home.
I've already started the conversation with my boss. She already works 3-2.
Okay.
And the difference is she has people who report to her in their office in Canada. So there's more reason for her to be there than, for instance, myself. My employees are all remote. So I have no direct reports in the office, none, zip, zero. And the only reason why I should be there is from a visibility perspective. That's it. So until they start figuring out what the plan is as it pertains to returning to the office, we'll see. I've already approached the subject. So most likely I'll get to do at least the 3-2. I'd really like to do like 4-1. But we'll see.
And then I'll ask this as well. First, we'll say good luck to DC. He's under the gun again. Weather. This is their weather report. See another tropical disturbance heading straight to the the bayou. But pick up anything this weekend? Eyes on anything? Anything pop that you're like, oh man, this is
Such anticipation, Dave. So I did, as I mentioned last week, I did have my eye on a card. I was able to secure it. I got it yesterday. Only 2 people have seen it, so only 2 people know what it is, and they happen to be 2 people on the screen. I don't ever like to spoil things too much. So I've even waited to post it on Instagram. Mike, 25 Modown 25, actually reached out to me on Instagram. What was it, Wednesday or Thursday of last week? As I'll wait for our video to come back. mentioning, that he had something that he was eyeing. So of course I wished him, good luck on that. Hopefully he was able to snag it. He did you just shake your head? No.
I told him because I'd put it on the watch list as well, and I had told him if you need Bob, our good friend Robert, for the Brodeur, if I wasn't able to procure funds for that SPX, or that SP Force auto, or the SPX Duo View. I keep getting those mixed up. They're both die cut, both holograms, but he said he'd lend I'll lend you the money, pay me back, whatever. So, being the good guy I am, and everybody knows I am, I said same thing with Mike. If you need to bump it up further than you truly want to, I will do the same. Again, just pay me back whenever. Again, I trust you, we're friends. It doesn't matter that I want you to get the card. But he's like, there's another guy out there that I'm really worried about that I think goes after stuff. So I was watching, and then we were messaging on Instagram there, and he's just like, fuck. I went further than I wanted and still lost. He's like, now I got to look at eBay. I'm like, well, it's like, but I don't want to. Basically, didn't say it, but he doesn't want to rage buy and all the funds he's accrued for this stuff and just go blow it on something. And I said, yeah, that's probably wise. But yeah, that card, I'm like, I couldn't believe it went for like 162.
Yeah, mine wasn't anywhere. I mean, mine went for half that. Now, mind you, mine ended in the middle of the day, which did help.
Okay.
And to a degree, I didn't pay too far off about what they normally go for. There were a few that had gone up or gone off higher. Some went lower over the last few years. And for whatever reason, I never, either I forgot about it or, it was one of those in which I watched it and it went higher than what I really wanted to pay. So this has been one I can at least say, quote unquote, that has eluded me over the years.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a super expensive card by any stretch of the imagination, but to me, it's one of those that's very iconic. And I know, Dave, you were asking me the questions, how many cards or how many autographs does he have with this pose?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the only one still to this day that sticks out to me. So this is the 2001 SP Authentic Sign of the Times on card with the Mile High salute.
Because I looked at the card and I'm like, oh, I love that card. I love the auto. And then I noticed the shot. I'm like, holy crap. I haven't seen that before. And again, not being I love Terrell Davis. I've collected his stuff way, 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 way back when. As we all did as youth. Whenever you picked up 10 cards. Seeing that, I'm like, holy crap, that is fucking cool. What? Then my line of question came, like, what, where, how, why? I was like a little kid there, like, so thinking that Panini would have had like 35 of those insert sets by now, and they haven't. Which, again, that you as a youth, a kid, a young adult, you remember that stuff, and we went through that in our chat. So not to cut you off, but I was super excited to see that because knowing the history, and it's not like, oh my god, this is a crucial part of history. This is still a part of our football watching history. Your fandom, obviously, and again, watching him destroy the Chargers time after time and do that salute, I'm like, okay, you've earned it. You can't stop him. Well, I can't be pissed at him. I can be pissed at them, the Chargers, but I can't be pissed at him for just steamrolling through. And I liked it. I'm not afraid to admit it because I'm a Chargers fan, but I was super stoked. Because I didn't know that was out there, and I'm like, I know you're gonna appreciate it. the way a true Broncos slash Hall of Fame slash Terrell Davis collector would.
Of course, there's the gold variation of 25, which I've only seen twice. It was reasonable, but it's one of those in which, like I said, it's you forget about something, or it goes a little higher than what you really want to pay, or you're at the end of your budget and you don't want to go way over budget type situation. But he has other cards with the Mile High Salute, but this is the only autograph that is at the forefront of my head. There could be something that's newer. It's one of those in which some of the stuff, like the newer things, I somewhat don't pay as close attention to, I guess.
Yeah.
So there's times in which I'll put it on the watch list just to kind of see. It's more like a gauge. But I've known about this card for a long time, and I've watched it a ton of times, and it's one that I had to get. I mean, it's as a Terrell Davis collector and a Terrell Davis fan, there's nothing more iconic for him than the Mile High Salute.
Mm-hmm.
So I was super pumped to get it, super pumped to win it for the price, because, like I said, sometimes you just don't know. And the fact that we got Vinny twice. But anyways,
What's up, Paul?
What's going on, Paul? Knowing it, we always talk about this, as collectors, and yes, I'm not going to sit here and claim to be like the Terrell Davis expert. I am not anywhere close to that. Do I know a lot of his cards? Do I know a lot of the details around him? Absolutely. But I am no way, shape, form, or fashion an expert.
Mm-hmm.
Go back a few years ago, I could probably claim that because I was on top of everything. Well, when you don't sit there and look at stuff frequently and stay up to speed, you have a tendency to lose some of that legacy knowledge. It happens. It's also called old age. But at the same time, if people knew about Terrell Davis and his history and the legacy of the Mile High Salute after a touchdown, and the fact that other players have done it because of him in Denver, but he was the originator and it just stuck. That was his signature touchdown celebration. And the fact that I'm almost positive that is the only autograph of him doing the Mile High Salute.
Mm-hmm.
So when you take that into consideration as a collector, and for all those damn flippers and dealers and investors and everything else, somebody catches wind for that, that could just bump the crap out of that card, because, there is no stated print run for these. I mean, the gold variation, yes, is numbered to 25, but, there's no stated print run.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that there's not 1,000 of them out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something that's a given. You're looking at in the hundreds as far as potential availability. So, yeah, it's been sitting right here on my table, my sorting table, that's still in the same disarray as it was when I moved it back into the office. But I sit here, and it's one in which I look at it frequently, because, like I said, it's one that's eluded me over the years. Part of it a lot being my fault, but now I have one in its permanent home, and it's not going anywhere. So two autos of the 3 cards I picked up in the last 3 months, which is unusual.
I was like, going back to your collecting habits of like year 1 through 5 of YouTube, or so, trying to hammer out those autos.
Yeah, and it's not going to get to that point, honestly, because it just there hasn't been anything popping up that I'm willing to pay the price for right now on the 90s side. There's nothing there. Lob, you good? Got thumbs up? What's going on, Mr. Lewis?
Not much, man. Just hanging out. It's
So since you just joined, I'll go ahead and share this real quick.
good stuff, Dave.
I don't know if you saw it or not, Bob, but that was the newest pickup.
Nice, man. SP Authentic, what year?
2001.
So breeze year. I didn't get any of that. I kind of stopped after 2000.
Well, what I was discussing is this is the only card that I'm aware of the Mile High Salute with an autograph, though, too. So there's some more importance to it.
That's cool. What's up, Vinny? Dave?
And I'm going to go and say it for anybody coming in late. We appear to be having like some connection issues. So just bear with us. I don't know if it's Dave, if it's me, we don't know. We keep like, it's weird. No, it was doing it even before you got here, Vinny.
Like a dang gremlin.
Like you said for that TV that ended the middle of the day. This one is the middle of the night. It'll be coming out next video at some point in time because I've got two more super cool items I got, as you guys probably remember, no, possibly, allegedly. This ended at 2:07 a.m. Central Time. So I had to put a bid in before, which I'm not a fan of. It's always. I'm surprised I slept well enough to not wake up about 2 o'clock and jump on and check. Because I put a bid strong for the player, and it came the way that I'm going to show you. So that keep that in mind. And again, some folks love these. They're iconic in name. The first year, the 97 ones, basketball and football, yes. After that, adequate at best. And I know that it happens. Some folks enjoy them, some folks don't.
Pretty sharp.
Nice. Precious metal gems.
The U side, there is a print line, but I'm not going to pay up for this. This isn't like a Mirror Gold where I think it's a iconic card. This is, but if you look, no penny sleeve. Again, this wasn't a $5 card. I know penny sleeves are up. The prices have come up a little bit. But, so
When I bought a card recently in the photo on eBay, it was in a top loader without a soft sleeve. And there were still some times I was looking at the seller. Oh yeah. I was looking at his feedback, and he had some negative feedback, and some of the stuff was regarding shipping, and I'm like, so I made a play for the card. It was a Shaq card that was in Fleer Ultra insert, so it's kind of condition sensitive. I'm just like, what are the chances? Like, okay, so this guy's got it in a no sleeve in a top loader, that he's just gonna drop that into a mailer and it's gonna come halfway out of the top load, But so I let me ask you then, is it okay? I mean, I know you do what you want, but like, um, send the guy a message like almost like, hey, I noticed it wasn't in a penny sleeve. Could you put it in a penny sleeve and tape the top loader shut? You know what I mean? Like, it came that way anyway. So, but I didn't send a message. But would you ever? I don't know. Like, I think in all the stuff, it's not a bunch, but I mean, in all the things that I've sold, only one person sort of messaged me beforehand and asked, please be careful, send, ship it properly, type of heads up. I've never done it on my end, but it's an okay thing to do, right? I mean, you don't want to insult their intelligence, but
At the same time, you want to protect your quote unquote a purchase / investment. Be like, hey, notice that again. I don't know what you're shipping. I see some. I'm ready to pay. If I can pay a little extra, I'll pay a little extra on top. Even if it's for a penny sleeve, I'd be like, whatever, just to ensure that it gets here without jostling around. Especially if you have it's not like a $5 card. Okay, whatever.
no,
When you talk probably 50 and above, that's when you start talking big. We're not the social media darlings that are making the plays for the $10,000 cards. But when it comes to 50 and above, I expect a lot of stuff to be taken care of. I take care of all my stuff when I ship. You may be able to attest to that, Robert. So, and Vinny, you I know Steve's gotten stuff in the past.
You have one in front of you. You could go through it. I'm not telling you to. I'm just saying, like, I learned early on because I watched videos for a year before I started making them or really selling anything. But a lot of videos, how we're basically calling out certain eBay shippers and just how not to do it, how to and how not to do it. So, cardboard when necessary, painter's tape, team bags, tape and top loader shut, all that stuff. Bubble wrap if necessary, inside a bubbled mailer, whatever it takes so that the end user is happy.
Yeah, you don't put like the 8x10 bubble mailer and just toss the top loader in there with the card, because that,
like the Brodeur you have. I mean, that's one of the shipping horror stories that sticks out to me. I've heard a lot, but that one, like everything surrounding that, coming from foreign lands and everything, it made it all the way there. Oh.
Yeah, everybody's got a few shipping horror stories to a certain degree. Mine haven't been as bad as others, that's for sure. But I mean, I've had some where the biggest culprits, of course, is no penny sleeve. And for something that, I paid $4 or $5 for, okay, I can probably accept it a little bit more. It's still frustrating because as a previous eBay power seller, I never had any complaints with my shipping. And, it was one of those in which I always did the 7s flap on my top loaders. I always at least put one decoy in it so it gave it some firmness, and it was always on the top of the card in the team bag. And I always sent the invoice. So I folded it up after, writing, thank you for your purchase, and I'd sign every order.
Yep.
It's that personal touch. It doesn't seem like much, but it's a little personal touch.
I notice it when people do it.
Yep. And then, with the invoice, it still added a little bit more protection, quote unquote, to the bubble mailer. So I still ship that way. I leverage the decoys more than anything, unless I'm sending a priority mailbox, whether it be a medium or a small. Everybody who's gotten a priority mailbox from me knows it's usually packed with bubble wrap and peanuts, because I I used to be in shipping. I know how to ship things. I know how to protect things. So
Well, I work in the mailroom at work, and there's always, anytime we're getting stuff like PPE gear or whatever, it all inevitably has packings. There's like, I don't know, they're like basically fillers, airbags for fillers and stuff. Like all that excess I put in a big trash. It's in the other room in here, and it's like, eventually I know I'll need it, and it's free. Try to cut expenses wherever you can.
Mhm.
absolutely. Yeah, I used to take back at the old place I used to take the Feldspar. I think it was the peanuts with the Feldspar in it, anti-static, because
right.
we did a lot of circuit boards and stuff like that for business phone systems. So all our stuff was anti-static, and there were times in which I'd take a big box full of them, because how much could you ever really reuse? We're never going to use every single amount of peanuts that we had. So
Right.
now I'm running extremely low. So if anybody has some spare peanuts and want to just ship me a box or whatever, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Check this thing out. I was cleaning out at my aunt's house. She had a property, and she's selling it, but it still had some of my old stuff. And I found this Donkey Kong 2 game, and it was like the flip kind, where it's kind of like the old Tiger games,
Yep.
handheld games. No batteries in it, but I doubt it still works. But even something like this just brings back some nostalgia for sure.
That's the key word, though, Bob. Nostalgia.
Very cool. You remember playing that at like wrestling tournaments growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I still had my Game Boy.
Still got the Game Boy.
Well,
It's got a
back in
nice
the
little crack on it, but it's sort of like it's not a crack. It's just like a scratch on the screen, but it's still playable.
any of y'all remember FuncoLand?
Oh yeah.
I don't know where it moved to, but FuncoLand was GameStop before GameStop existed.
Yep.
And they actually gave decent amount of trade-in credit compared to what GameStop does these days. I mean, GameStop just rakes you over the coals, honestly, in my opinion. But back when FuncoLand was big, I never kept game systems. I started trading them in to get the next latest and greatest,
Right.
whether it be systems, games, and everything else. Because as a younger kid, not working, I couldn't always expect hey, Mom, I want PlayStation for Christmas when it's $200. Well, then there goes my entire Christmas. I mean,
Right.
because my mom was always on a budget and it just wouldn't work.
Mhm.
So I did that for a long time. And I got rid of my Sega, my 32X, my Game Boy, and my Game Gear, all to get the first PlayStation. And I think I got 3 games, 2 memory cards. I think I even bought the Game Shark because that's when they actually still had cheat codes that you could use because there was no online gameplay. So it was like all you're doing is playing for yourself, right?
Mhm.
So
I remember the
But now-
Game Genie Nintendo.
yes, I remember that too. But now I still have my Nintendo. I still kept that for whatever reason. I have my original Xbox, I have my 360, and then of course I have my Xbox One. But
Well, the Nintendo was first, right? I mean, was that your first console?
Atari was my first console.
Or
We had an Atari, but what would you say, Dave?
ColecoVision, the other one. Similar to Atari, you could play
Yeah.
basically interchangeable.
I remember my friend had the computer with the I don't know 5-inch floppy disks. Like he had Pitfall, and that's like the only game I remember that he ever had that we played. I thought it was the coolest thing at the time. I mean, and then man, Nintendo was a game changer for sure. I remember that big time.
So I hate to like break out with the obvious, but we're 45 minutes in and we haven't even touched on the subject.
What is
We've
it?
like we've deviated from our normal game plan.
We went to the old school well this time. Not pretty much abandon the topic immediately. That's something we'll have to have at some point. It's just like video game talk. Because I know we could go on for a good 3 hours with that, and that we all have different ones, and we all will have some same. So that'll be one down the road at some point, maybe towards Christmas. Because again, guess what? That was usually your big Christmas gift, especially if you had a sibling or two that were in the same age range. I'd be like, okay, you guys are gonna get the PlayStation, the Super Nintendo. Then you better play together, and you better not fight.
Parents could justify the purchase if they could somehow like see, okay, a little bit's for like 2 kids are playing it. I get that. What is the topic?
Breaking point. When either hobby-wise, when you're sitting there and all this wonderful content keeps spilling out, prices on cards, like you're just like, okay, I want to get this card, I really want to get it, but what the hell? What it's going for 20 times what it should, even in a strong market. The wax prices, it's like, at what point you just say, you know what, I'm not gonna fucking bust wax, because not saying you have to have a good ROI every time, but at some point you can't spend $600 for a box that you're getting 40 cents back in. I mean, it just
Yeah, you bring up the wax prices is. Oh man, I watched I don't watch many of their videos, but I did watch their Tyson is his name for Bench Clear, break down the Donruss football. I just hadn't seen anything on it yet. And he said, did you see that video at all by chance? He said that for half cases, 9 boxes, the Jags, Trevor Lawrence was going for $500 and you'd get a on average a Trevor Lawrence every 3 boxes. So you're getting and they're selling for about $50. So you're paying $500 for the Jags in a half case, getting 3, maybe 4 at $50 a pop. If you don't get a hit or some kind of numbered pair, you know what I mean? You're just buying to lose. I know like opening wax has always been like it's the gamble of it all, but geez, man, that's too much. Like we were looking at, I think I mentioned this before on something, that Topps Chrome Jumbo. Now we like to put the sets together, so it's like we're almost buying it to get the most cards to put the set together, which isn't what it costs to get a jumbo box, even if you put the set together. But are you the paying for the experience of it all, and maybe I think Up North Collector said it's like when you open Bowman or something, you prepare for the bloodbath, but hope for the best. Basically, you go in like knowing it's going to be a loss, taking an L, but you have fun. Like, is the experience of it enough to sort of make you feel like you broke even? I don't know.
So here's my issue with box prices, and honestly, the fact that Dave called it out specifically as it pertains to the topic, in the placeholder and everything else. I reached my breaking point with box prices some time ago. And this was even pre like COVID shutdown. And it's not specifically because I used to love breaking hobby. I loved it. Because I did years ago when it was still feasible to a degree. But that's when I was looking at, selling everything that I pulled. As I progressed and got outside of that mindset, a lot of the times when I would purchase a case or quite a few boxes, I looked at trying to build a set because that's who I am. I'm still a set guy. Always will be. That'll never change. It's no different than you and wanting to put together the Topps Chrome baseball set. I get it. And it got to the point to where, yes, you could get a set. Like if you bought a case of Topps Chrome, you were pretty much guaranteed a set. But you're still talking, $8,000, give or take, depending on what your hobby shop sells, boxes for, so on and so forth. Because most of us can't go straight to distributors, so we can't get stuff at cost, right? But where I really started reaching my breaking point with the box prices is, and it's not really, this is not geared at Topps nor Upper Deck, because I will give them credit to a degree. I think they've stayed fairly consistent with a lot of their pricing on the hobby side. Yes, there may have been slight upticks over previous years, but let's face it, shutdowns, potential increase, certain costs. Okay, I get it. You're going to see a small uptick. But Panini has taken it to a new level. They are catering strictly to the breaker. And the reason I say that, and I will say it until I'm blue in the face, they did not increase costs by that much to where they could go from a few $100s on a box to $3,000. I'm sorry. It's because they're catering to the breaker. Breakers have the opportunity to break it up per team, per player. They can do all sorts of things.
Oh, they're banking, man.
But when you sit there and you take something that's $3,000, you multiply it out by an 8-box case, that's $24,000. $24,000. How's a collector going to afford that? They're not. So it's catered towards the breakers, because then the breakers break it up, pick your team. Or if it's random team, you're paying, $1,000 a team to take a chance.
On high-end stuff, yeah.
But it's not just high-end. Dude, look at Donruss football.
$500 for a half case, yeah. So,
I mean, over $100.
and Chicago was the same way. Those were the two big ones.
But historically, if you think about it, base Donruss was, $80 to $90.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, because I want to say I got the email to where you could actually go buy it online, and I think they were selling boxes for like $150, and they were already sold out. That's almost 2 times what it used to be. Why?
Greed. People,
so it's.
You said it's shifted to where it's catered to who's got the money, and that's the breakers for sure.
So, from a breaking point perspective, yeah, the hobby box prices, I reached that, even prior to COVID. And it's unfortunate because, not that I did it often, but every once in a while, it was enjoyable to break a hobby box. It's.
Steve, do you have any wax? Do you have a wax collection, a sealed wax collection at all?
No,
From stuff
nothing.
you've opened over the-
No, nothing sealed. No. I could never keep it long enough. I was too. I couldn't do it.
I'm with you. I got one box over there that I still know I'm not gonna. Well, I got two, but it's at a point where one I already pulled a big card out of a product, the same product. So like, why the chances of getting the next big card it's very rare. And the other one is it's one of the products that's got some nice cards in it, but you get I think 3 autos in a box, but there's 200 autos in the checklist. So there's maybe 5 guys worth getting. So it almost in and of its as a sealed product, it's worth more, or it's a more, but that's an asset like that is better than the singles that I'm getting, because that's not a thing. It's not something I'm interested in putting sets together. It's a box that my dad bought. It's a last year's Contenders basketball, So if you don't pull a LaMelo or a Halliburton or Edwards, right? Yeah, like you're losing. And Contenders, I don't think I've ever pulled even like a third rounder in that over the years. So not really worth it to open it. Believe me, and I love opening packs. You guys know that.
Well, the longest I ever waited was the stuff that Vinny sent me in the care package. I sat on a lot of that for months because I wanted to be able to open something at my disposal type situation.
Yeah.
Still has the Chronicle Soccer that you found.
Yep. I'll be taking that with my brother and my daughter at Thanksgiving. We got
My sister
package.
My sister texted me one day a month or so ago. She was at Walmart and they're doing you can buy one thing, like not one blaster and one rack pack, like one period, whatever it was. And she wasn't going to get it because it was a soccer. And she's like, well, my brother doesn't collect soccer, but I happened to be on the phone as she was in the aisle. And it was Topps Chrome. I don't know who's in it. I haven't actually I don't even have the blaster here yet. It's still at her house, but that'll be something that to me is easier to keep because it isn't even opening it. Like I don't know who I'm looking for. It's like opening Bowman,
Well, that's the thing too with soccer. The people I know are like Alexis Lally or whatever, the old redhead guy from the 94 World Cup.
Yeah, I did open some of the Mosaic when I found those at my Target, and I did get a Messi and the Mosaic Prism Messi too. So it's a sharp card. I mean, it's like a $10-15 card, but man, they look so sharp. But at least I was like, I opened it up and I'm like, a name I actually know. But I guess all the Barcelona team, like those are the ones that people want out of that set apparently. So
yeah, I look for like Gareth Bale because I know he's a Welshman, and that's
oh, nice. Yeah, there it is. I don't. Is that a colored parallel? Is that the teal?
That's numbered to 199. It's blue. So that's my guy, Luka Modric.
making moves.
Making moves.
That's a cool name.
He's
I found a Vinny. You have some of the extended series, right?
Yep.
Check this one out. This was, I didn't know who it was, but so the extended series starts at 701.
Yep.
And it's the 701 that Arthur Kaliev. Like a $12 to $16. But I mean, I figured usually the first young gun in the series is at least somebody decent. That was the first. That was probably my 5th blaster of that stuff, and the first time I got a non-defenseman young gun. All the other ones I got a couple of goalies. This Cam Johnson for the Blue Jackets. 13-5.
I haven't found squat. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Nada.
Yeah, the Target still has the some of that hockey.
That's all I can find as the extended series right now.
Big moves. Sapphire.
Whoa.
Goodbye Lemieux budget.
Never.
That's a separate budget. That's a separate budget.
That's a separate warehouse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those were like $2 a piece. So nobody was bidding on them. It was 93-cent shipping. Minimum bid 99 cents. All day long. All day long.
Well, that's
So-
the thing. It's coming from a product that isn't like, even if you could find it in the wild, it's not like a $2 tops base product.
Yeah.
So it's
Sapphire.
just like I see some of those videos too with like that F1. Okay, yeah, that's nice stuff, but if you're those boxes are going for whatever 500, 600, 700 or more, why the hell wouldn't you pick up even an oddball like Lewis Hamilton's like 5 or 10? A gold that is like regular, but maybe it's the card.
I scoff at your $500 a box. And I raise you to $1,550. $1,550 for the Sapphire and $1,200 for the regular hobby box. 18
Of the
packs
F1 stuff.
of the F1.
That's insane.
Yeah, almost 2 G's a box for the Sapphire, and about $1,000 for the regular. I mean, okay, you got a couple drivers. Whoopity do. It's like this. He's the captain of the Croatian national team. So and he's not Ronaldo. He's not Messi. He's not Mbappe. He's not one of the top guys. He's probably, he's played, I think, Barcelona his whole career. He's a midfielder. I like him. I think he's a good player, and no one else wants to collect him. I will collect #otherluca.
And not to change the subject, but Vinny, just FYI, I changed your name because you were Uncle Vinu.
Yeah,
And-
I saw that.
I fixed it.
Nanu.
I fixed it.
Thank you.
At least you were Uncle Venmo.
That's true.
I do accept Venmo, as has been told before.
So we touched on it more geared towards hobby box prices as kind of a breaking point. Vinny, from your perspective, you being a wax guy and have been for some time, that the breaking point for you for like wax hasn't reached anything other than the fact of not being able to find retail, which none of us can. So out of curiosity, and I'm putting you on the spot just because I can, because, it's our show and I can do that. And everybody needs to be prepared. Did
That was me.
Dave did that? I was like, wait a minute, did we lose him?
That's what I wanted to do.
Put him on the spot.
Yeah, that's. I'm putting you on the spot, Vinny, by removing you from the stream. Brilliant.
Have you reached any of your breaking points as of yet? Whether it be from the Lemieux aspect, from retail, from anything, just trying to get your opinion, and then Bob will put you on the spot and get your take, even though you started it with hobby box prices.
Cool.
Number one card. It's no secret. It's the 96-97 Mirror Gold. One went tonight I bid With permission of said wife, I bid strong. That was just that strong. It wasn't enough. It's like the song, you know, love just ain't enough. It went for 1775. It was on Probe Steam. It was a PSA 10,
Okay.
so it went for about $1,800. The last raw one went about 500. I messaged Dave today about a card that would look really well in his collection, and they had the same one for Mario. They've both been sold. So I have not reached my breaking point because I will keep looking and I will keep searching. Half the fun of this hobby is the hunt. And I will hunt and I will look and I will find. I got a box, what was it? The first year of Leaf Limited, $35. Guy started at 60, walked past. I said, "You take 50?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay." I walked back 10 minutes later. I was like, "You take 40?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, then I walked up to him and he was paying attention. "Hey, how you doing?" Because I bought wax from him before. So you take 35? He goes, "Yeah, I'll take 35 from you." Sold. I was my own competition of breaking it down. I am, as Ed would say, I am the market. And I will continuously do this. And it's, I'm going to keep hustling and I'm going to keep grinding and I'm going to keep on doing what Vinny does. And I will somehow, some way get the stuff that I want. I don't know when that will be. It might be when I'm 68 and I got like a month left of this hobby left before I just reach my breaking point. But until then, I got hopefully a lot of years left after today, and I'm going to keep rolling. I got this the other day. I'm trying to put the PSA stuff together for Tops and O-Pee-Chee. This is a 5. If you look at this card, I don't know why it's a 5. Well, the centering's horrific, and the edges are rough because it's O-Pee-Chee. So it's a 5. I got it for $10. You can't grade this card for $10.
No. No, there's that for a while there. I'm trying to remember when it was. It must have been last summer sometime. There was a couple sellers on eBay that were just like constantly with the hockey. I know TNT would just pipe it out. It'd be like hockey, then like 2 weeks of football, then like hockey, baseball, then football, then hockey, football, then basketball. They haven't done as much because I mean I've seen some stuff, but it's starting to get to the point where it's all the same. What's going on, Bobby?
Sorry, Dave, I'm taking this over real quick. So, because I was able to get back in here real quick. So I wanted to show this to Mike so he could see it since he was asking about it. But that's the card.
That's probably true. Until nobody grades, and we're not going to be at that point at any time.
I got a question for you guys. 99 Donruss or Leaf certified. Excuse me. These certified gold teams. Is there any other variations, or is it just the black?
Just the black.
It is just the black. There's no reds or blues, right?
Nope. Certified for like the base, you had the red, blue, and then at that time, I think I don't know if they even had black then.
Black didn't come out, I don't think, until 2001, maybe. I know it was later years because I know I have
I know
the TV.
2002. I remember the RPAs with like Palmer and Laftowich and yeah, nobody wants to see Bob's face that big. Like Antoine Gold, and I remember seeing those way back in the day when they were pulled on like the Beckett message board. But I don't 2002. I don't remember because I've never seen a McCown, and I don't remember anyone else in that. Yeah, at least again that I've seen. I'm an expert.
Well, let's see. I'll do a quick peek and see. Because I know, and I want to say it's 2001, at least the one that I have for Terrell Davis.
Because there's inserts. There's like the dual. 2000 has it. It's like the certified gold team, maybe, and it might be a black, and there's like a double one, like either two guys that are the younger guys, or maybe a veteran older. I want to say Northcutt has something, but the black, when they started printing them on the base set, they were all one of them, and I don't remember that until 03. Again, could be completely off, but that's when my 41-year-old brain starts hitting the synapse, and that time.
So nothing.
Excuse
So-
me. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go do bedtime real quick, and then I'll be back.
No worries. So no 2001 certified gold team. 2000 had it, but I don't think it had parallels either. Oh no, they did. So 2000 had a. I'm guessing the black variation. I'm not logged in, but I'm guessing.
I know I've got the Northcutt because that's like the certified gold team, and then the black is to 25.
Yep. So 2000 is a definite. They have it. 2001, there was nothing listed. Now, like I said, I'm doing a quick search here. 2002 had certified gold team, but no parallel.
Okay. And then 03,
Because
I think didn't have it, but just parallel mirror black.
let's see.
If not, everyone I know 04 did, because that's the first logo shield of McCown I got. The mirror black, so.
Yeah, nothing in 03 either for certified gold team. So 2002 they had it, no parallel, nothing in 2001. 2000 they had it with the mirror black parallel number to 25.
In 99?
I didn't go back any further.
Okay.
I can look if you want, but
Irrelevant. Just, I thought they might have, because I want to say Moss might have had one, because I think Bob may or may not have picked one up recently. As he was asking about a couple of cards I know, I think on the canvas. But, hey, are these something? I'm like, go after them. I would, but I got that Brodeur and I got other Brodeurs. I gotta focus. And then whatever Josh Johnson stuff pops up, and whatever Dumba stuff tickles a fancy, maybe a Doug Martin to offset some other stuff, and Bledsoe and Martin. And again, searching that's the breaking point. Searching for everybody I collect. That takes 2 hours by itself.
so the version Bob was showing was in fact 99, and so it's the base insert and then the mirror black parallel number to 25. So
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't keep that going forward. That was, and again, it's not like it's gonna break the bank, but it's just something that looks really nice, really sharp.
well, and they brought some of the. I mean, they brought some of the card designs back in like NT, in like the retrospective autographs type thing. So they did bring back the card design, but they of course added autographs and short numbered to 5 and all sorts of fun stuff.
So I would say, since Bob's bedtime story, I'm sort of in the same camp as Vinny. Where again, if you liked a player and you just started collecting them, he had good news from before. I had like an Elite Roger from 93, 94, 94, 95 with the Decal Edge and maybe a couple other low-end upper decks from 99, 2000. So everything was new. The bad part, as Carlos had alluded to in one of his streams, was anybody that collects Madano now, you've got two guys at least that are battling for a lot of the top tier stuff. And then you don't see it. Even if they don't want it or they've got it, you don't see it pop up. So that's where my mind goes. I'm many laps down. I'm running a NASCAR race at Talladega, and I've got a riding lawnmower. They've got the current stock cars. So as I practice for the race, I'm getting passed. And for whatever reason, they're going to count this as like, okay, how many times you get passed? That's where you're starting the race, how many laps down. So I've got 25 years of not collecting a guy. And not that I'm collecting them like the guys I have in the past. Josh Johnson, where I pick everything up. Northcutt, if it's an auction, it's under 100. I'm looking at it. Same with McCown. Kerry Collins, it depends, the price. Mike Sims Walker will pick every version of something up that's 25 or under. I don't care. Gaduli, same thing.
Sorry, Dave, I have to keep that up because that just symbolizes everything about us. I'm just gonna leave it up for a bit.
Bingo. We haven't got the bingo cards out for a while.
Yeah, that's got to be the free space in the middle.
No kidding.
I won't hit, and I think Vinny and I discussed this. We discussed like a lot of the hockey because I know the Hockey Oracle doesn't want to listen. Crypto Grifter is out making his live streams and running down the newbies. Robert Lewis is making moves. DC dealing with the weather down there. Carlos is trying to put people in their place. So Vinny and I have to play the old Atari game Pong, harkening back to games, bouncing stuff back and forth off each other. It's like, yeah, we won't get in on a lot of those prices from a long time ago, where some of the stuff you probably could have picked it up for half of what we've done the last year. Within the same breath, though, you talk about cards that are 20 plus years old, that are 50 or less, 100 or less. You're not just going to go to a card show, National, Expo, all these beautiful Dallas shows that everybody rants and raves about. There's some cool Philly show that losers from Detroit are saying that they run and they own. Home ec clothes suck. You're not going to find these cards just sitting in boxes. You may find one. You may find two. You may find 10. But it's not going to be, you're finding this huge vein of what you're actually looking to collect, what you're actually looking to buy, if you do take full advantage of it. Because those moments don't come along. They're just not like, man, I love the 90s. I love the early 2000s. And then you see like 3 tables with that stuff. Then you get the Brinks truck for the money. Then you get the U-Haul to haul it away. So you have to look at these online options to get them and get them while they're listed. Because you don't know how many times somebody's going to put something up okay, it's a 7-day whatever, buy it now. Nope. Another 7-day, nope. Another 7-day, nope. Okay, after about the 1 month goes through, nobody's bought it. Well, it's going back into the vault. Nobody bought it. Nobody, if you watched it and let's say there was an option to make a counter offer on it, and they gave you like one of those deals that, hey, here's 10% off, make a counter offer. If you don't do that and they're like, well, nobody made an offer in a month, I'll stick it away. So if that's something number to 10, number to 20, number to 50, that's like a 1998 to 2004, 2005 card. There's not breakers out there breaking that stuff. Leighton Sports isn't breaking that left and right. Jaspy's isn't breaking that. Cards Infinity Chris, he's not breaking that. Truth 17, not breaking it. RBI Crew 7, not breaking it. Nobody is, because nobody has it. And if they do, they're sitting on it because they want to sit on it. So that breaking point for pretty much player collecting for me, I don't know if I'll ever hit it. It may come to the point where some of the Brodeur stuff, if it just doesn't pop over years, will there be a more of appreciation when it finally does come up? And okay, I want to spend X on this card. 3 years goes by. Well, that X is now X squared because I haven't seen it. Is it X 2.5 after like 4 years? X3 after 6 because you're just not seeing something. And a lot of collectors have that mindset. They don't. And again, I don't fault anyone for not saying, well, I want to spend more on whatever card. You're going to spend what you can. And just depending on the card. If it's something you've been after for 15 years, you probably will spend dumb if funds allow you. That breaking point might be, man, there's that 2006 Superfractor. There's that, if it ever pops, the 2006 Ultimate with Zumaya, the Emmett dual MLB logo. That pops. I bid $1,000 and I get outbid by like 3 people. I'm like, okay, that might be a breaking point. Because who the hell's wanting that for more than $1,000 and who's bidding me up? Somebody's gonna get their testicles clipped off with a lock cutter.
Not allegedly either.
That'll be on the live stream. That'll be must see TV. But with Brodeur, it's like I know I'm paying strong for a lot of stuff. I know I should be patient. There's a couple cards I know I haven't been patient with, but you expect those to pop up after you see the initial sales of like, some of the things I've paid. I don't want to do the Jeremy and be the new record setter. I know I have because I'm dumb, but I want the card. And I can work it into my budget. I'm not overspending my means. That's why we talked before we went on. I said I hate having the sales because it's something I'm not used to. But if I want to get a lot of these cards of Brodeur that are super cool, super limited, again, if I'm stopping at 03, 04, we're 17, 18 years old and back. They're voting age and back. If it was the Cup, I could still pick up some stuff that's super nice. There's a signature patch or whatever to 50 that went off last night, I think. Faded auto a little bit, but it was for 150. I'm like, that's not bad. Unfaded auto, it probably goes for like 3. So I've cut that with the Focus. Like through 03, 04, I remember buying heavy. The lockout happened. I sort of went away. The whole landscape of hockey changed from what I remembered to something new then. And then everything else at that time, baseball, certainly basketball. I bought a bunch of, I think, 05, 06 finest back then, 04, 05, whatever year, like Raymond Feltman, Josh Childress were rookies. And then football. Football's always been king. And there's the pupper. There's Ed. Ed, where are you? Pupper alert.
I'm just trying to keep myself muted so you can't hear my three pups.
Well, you're not going to hear anything unless somebody comes and knocks on my door or anything. But obviously, this one wants some attention. Okay, thank you for leaving now. Has to come in and check. But
it's you have to, no matter how long you collected, if you start feeling uncomfortable at the price points they're going for, that's when you have the collection sort of like shift. See what else is out there, what else you'd love to collect over the years, where you can still have that enjoyable, so you don't get burnt out, so you don't get frustrated, so you're not like, you know what, YouTube, fuck you all, I'm leaving, I'm going to Facebook, I'll do my stuff there, I'm just not going to do it anywhere, I'm going to collect and be collecting by myself. Because as much fun as it is collecting by yourself, you still want to have people you still want to have people to share your collection with. So I don't know. It's
I beat you to it, Vinny. That's what I do, though.
that was a long video, Mike. That I didn't want it to be that long, but I wanted to have enough ammunition that, and I looked for those basketballs right at the end, or through most of the video, but more at the end, just because I knew if somebody wanted them, I should still go for an adequate amount. But that's the thing. I need, if I want to purchase these Brogers, I'm going to need to sell big guns. Some stuff that I might not necessarily want to move, but in the same breath, we've said it before. All of us have said it. If we have something that we can move that we like, but we're not beholden and attached to get something that we're like, man, this is a grail card, something in a top 10, top 25, whatever. It'll sting. It's like a mosquito bite. It's going to sting. It's going to irritate for a while. After a day, I won't say you'll forget it, but let's say when that card comes in, you're going to be like, okay, now this card has a story to it. A built-in story. Not one where, man, Steve got this for me, or Vinny got it for me, or I got it for Bob, or I got it for Joey and Michael, or whoever, somebody. It's okay. I had to give up something to get something. I really like this something, and I'm hoping whoever got that something really likes it as much as I like this. So trying to balance all that, it's fun. It's fun.
Well, and as I told you, it was one of those in which I reached out to Vinny. Vinny didn't go into great detail, and I don't know if it's because he didn't have as much detail or he didn't want to share it completely because, that's one of those in which maybe he didn't feel it was his place to spill the beans. But I went to him based on what you said early on in the sale video. So I'm like, okay, well, instead of bombarding Dave with a bunch of questions, I'll reach out to Vinny. And, Vinny gave me an idea. It's not that I'm saying that Vinny didn't give me an idea of what the stature, so to speak, of what you were going after. I was looking for more and not even specifics. I mean, when I finally reached out to you, Dave, I got specifics.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew it was a big deal when you start breaking out Fabric of the Game, because I know what those cards mean to you. And it's one of those in which, if for any reason, future state, if the 06 National Treasures comes out, then I really know it's something like really substantial, and that's because those of us who know you and know what you like and where you stand on certain sets, it's like that in itself ought to give people an indication of, okay, wow, yeah, this is freaking huge. This is big. And it makes you wonder kind of what it is, but at the same time, you don't want to know what it is because you want to be surprised. And yes, I got the entire list. And, I was surprised with this how heavy it was in one aspect.
Yep.
Because I know you more from the parallels and stuff and things along those lines, but it's like I get it. You have some substantial gaps in that Brodeur collection that you had the opportunity to focus on. And I know there's more to it than just what deal you've already agreed upon. So I mean, it can only expand. And from that perspective, I hope you can get as much as possible because it's one of those. I know what it's like, and it's been a long time, but I know what it's like to be able to acquire a collection, so to speak, of your player. And you know that it's a substantial number of cards to add to the collection. Whether it be 20, 25, 30 cards, you know for sure, but you're purchasing more. You focus on specifically the needs that you know for sure. So I mean, it's a big deal, and it's an added sense of accomplishment when you're able to kind of work that and make it happen. But I wanted to circle back on you specifically focusing on being a player collector and not reaching your breaking point yet, so to speak, because it's one of those in which you're always going to go after Josh Johnson, like you said. The Brodeur stuff, the only time you would reach a breaking point is to the point to where, okay, you basically nothing kind of pops up that you're really interested in going after. And that's not even really a breaking point. That's kind of like a hiatus because of the inability to purchase something, right?
That's more like a plateau. You're just okay, where do we go? What do we do now?
And for me, as more products came out, I reached my breaking point as it pertains to where I drew the line, where I cut it off.
Mm-hmm.
You had that same 0304 as your sweet spot and prior.
Yep.
For Brodeur, I took mine to 2015. Early on it was like it didn't matter if it was new. I was going after it. I didn't care.
Yeah.
And it got to the point to where I didn't like some of the products that were coming out. It was oversaturated with stuff, and it just I'm like, okay, I have to put my foot down at some point. That doesn't mean that I won't pick up stuff that's newer or past 2015. That's not what I'm getting at. If something really piques my interest or it goes for something that I'm quote unquote willing to pay for, I'm not going to shy away from it. That's not that kind of then defeats the purpose of being a player collector, right?
Yeah.
Although I have a focal point, that doesn't mean that I won't go past said focal point. I mean, I have stuff from 2016 and newer.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it's one-on-ones because, why not, right? If you go for anything, why not go for one-on-ones?
Yeah.
So, but for me, I did reach that breaking point, though, from a player collection perspective. And that's where I put the firm line in the sand of, as a super collector for Terrell Davis, it's going to be 95 to 2015. And I want to get as much as what I can for those years. If I get newer stuff, great. If I don't, it doesn't change anything to me. So
and I know like the prices on some of that stuff we've discussed before on the show. We've discussed in private. Some of those PMGs and essential credentials are just lunacy. Because others are like, oh man, I like those, and you get the rub of the basketball market, and you get the rub of just other folks yammering about them all the time. that's why a lot of the times, as much as we've talked about this too, where we want to give the information, we want to like, oh, direct you to this. Look at these cards. At the same time, it's almost like a Lord of the Rings, and we're Schmiegel. It's like Mike Franco. You don't want to, dare I say, open hashtag Pandora's box, because it's not out of being greedy, but if there's stuff we all want to pick up, we sort of want to get what we can, what we want before the dam breaks and the floodgates open. That's just us as collectors trying to be getting those good deals only. Again, if we get our quota of whatever we thought and somebody starts piping off about it, and okay, whatever, then all the cool people start chiming in and saying they want them. Well, whatever, we've got what we needed. But it's when those cards get to the point where it's like, man, I really like it, but now you can't get it because 10, 15 people are all bidding each other up instead of communicating and saying, hey, let's figure something out here. Well, what's your max bid? And if you're actually good friends, if you're just using, that's another time, another story. When all that stuff goes stupid, that I know that can lead to the breaking point because you're like, man, I'm never going to get this card. I'm never going to get the 98 future now credentials or the future or the now, because somebody puts them up at a buy it now of $8.99, $12.50, $1,500. It's like, I don't believe there's many Terrell Davis cards out there, let alone any of the bevy of my players. Might be a couple Brodeurs out there that are worth that, or people are going to pay for that, especially a Shield. But yeah, an insert or a parallel card of a base set to 31 or 27 or 58 or whatever the goofy numbering is on there. As cool as the card is, as iconic as the set is, that's where the breaking points I think would easily chime in. Like if that StarQuest Gold came up and it was like 1,500 selling, like okay, that's going to be the breaking point there, because I'm not going to pay 1,500 for a UD choice or collector's choice insert parallel. Would I like to? Sure. But that just, it's not feasible. And now there's none. There we are. Steve has come back, but
Well, I'm letting the dogs out, so I was trying to,
okay, Baja man.
listen. Let's not go there, Dave.
But yeah, again, if stuff like that, that's why I was super happy to parlay some of those, the precious metals or whatever, as like the cornerstone of that trade for the Z Gold, because I believe that Z Gold came up on auction. I would have paid probably close to what that totally certified platinum went for. And I don't want to do that again, because again, that's a lot of money for a card. But I always, and we've said it, I've said it, I said it in my last ramble. If you can finagle the funds at least to offset the price, that's the key. If you can pay, let's say there's a Lemieux that Vinny wants. Raw, let's say he sells a few cards, he's got 250. That Mirror Gold comes up, okay. You now have, at least, because I know he thinks a lot like me with that in that regard. It's like I've got a bump in what I can go up on that. And that's why I think these sales are semi-necessary. I'm helping other collectors, I think, like Mr. Robert Lewis. And they're helping me get cards. I'm saying it in the videos. I'm saying what I'm getting. I'm not sitting there and saying, I'm going to the card show in Dallas this weekend. Please buy my cards so I can go down there because I don't have a fucking job. No, I'm getting cards for my collection. I've said it in every video. I say I don't like really selling because I don't like dealing with a lot of people.
Lay in the monsters.
I gotta go monster hunting, and that's where you need to make concessions. So if I don't have popcorn, peanuts, nachos, I can't have those concessions. I have to make concessions when I'm selling. So when you sell that, that's vital for the growth of your collection. It's vital for procuring some of those big cards where outright an $800 card that's tough. That's tough to just pull out of the savings, out of something else, out of the slush fund, whatever it may be. Well, 500. It's like, man, that's a lot. Just for and if you're seeing this every few months, it's tough. So if you can sell 300.
Look at this monster right here.
Shazam?
Kazam, baby.
No.
That was in my most recent Calm Sea order, baby. I was waiting for that sucker. Oh, and this guy too.
Oh, who the hell is that?
That's John
Besides,
Picano. He's the announcer for the minor league expos in West Palm Beach.
He's got to go out with that trainer from your 80s run.
I actually have I bought it already, but they have it's the trainers from this team, and then it's the mayor of the city actually has a card, and it's this old school lady who's got this big bush of hair with just like a hat, just like resting on top of all this hair. It's pretty awesome.
So it's like Damon Wayans from like the Guys on Film or whatever.
Or like Eddie Murray or George Bell in any picture.
That's something you're gonna have to do one time. Show off your special card piece.
Special, like floppy shoes special.
It'd be a multitude of.
tried. Geez. It'd have to
Bob.
be like it'd just have to be like a 5-part video series basically, because it's like the biggest binder that I have, and I still have 2 shoe boxes full of them because I keep finding new ones as I sort. Just ridiculous pictures.
Well, that's what I was going to get at. It's going to have to be a multitude of pictures or a multitude of videos because you'd be your stash PC or your shirtless PC. You know, I mean, you'd have to have.
I thought of a new
videos.
one. I've been sorting a lot of basketball, and I keep noticing Horace Grant in the background of other people's basketball cards. So I'm gonna start a side PC of basketball cards that have featuring Horace Grant in the background. He's out because he's unmistakable. He's either in a Bulls uniform or an Orlando Magic uniform, and he's got the goggles, so he sticks out. So that's how lame I am. I find myself sorting basketball cards looking for Horace Grant in the background. Wait a minute. Is that Paul Wilson?
Paul Gibson, but look at the guy in the background on both pictures.
I see like
It's just like that pro set card that I've got. It looks like trying to think who the hell it was. Just some nobody from the Niners.
Yeah, it's the belt.
You see that one? That's the corrected one.
Oh, nice.
In the background, and then.
Oh, no way! All right.
So
I've never seen that one, man.
I didn't know about it either. There's Josh Johnson Topps Gold Refractor the guy had, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna not cost me a lot. What can I bundle up with that? And I saw that, and I'm like,
Paul Gibson has some winners on his own. I think his
Oh.
91 upper deck, where like he just got the big 90s or 80s glasses, and he's like looking up. He's got this goofy look on his face. Oh yeah, I mean, he in and of himself is just champion.
not to the point of Eric Plunk, but I mean, he's in that.
That
he's in
goes
the-
in my like guys that look like accountants PC.
Either that or the guys that are sitting at the park a little too long. What's going on over here?
Yeah.
So now that Bob is back, it's time we put him on the spot.
Breaking points.
Yep.
So I haven't completely, I say I, but we, the dude and I, haven't completely reached the breaking point on wax just yet. It's just we're a lot more selective and it's not as much, which is okay. But that has allowed us to, which is not a new idea, but we've bought into more. Okay, just go buy the card you want from a particular release, so that's kind of where we're now. Do we want to buy the Topps Chrome jumbo box for $465? Work on the set, which is always fun to do once you get your your list, fellow collectors helping each other out, fill sets. It's always fun. Or do you just maybe go buy the Key Brian Hayes auto that's like 125, I think, or 150 the last time I was looking. I don't know. Other breaking points.
So what about like player collecting?
So my guy is very affordable right now. It's funny, I was in line at the grocery store earlier and I typed in Austin Meadows variation just to see what pops up. And as I'm sure a lot of us do from time to time, just to see. I'm not looking for anything. I'm not looking for anything. But up popped his the first listing with 14 minutes left on the listing was his super short print update rookie, which I have a copy of in a PSA 10.
Yep.
That I bought way back. Because I was told you never know when those super short prints are going to pop up again. So I went for it. And at the time, the raw one was just like $20-$30 cheaper than the 10. So I got the 10.
Mm-hmm.
But it had two bids, and the high bid on it was $10.50. So I was like, all right, I'm going to watch this. I put a $40 bid in with 6 seconds left. I'm not the high bidder. I went to 60 and I got it for $56. So for a super short print of my guy, like you can't, if you're collecting Tatis, you're not, or like anybody really. I don't know. I mean, Meadows is still very affordable, but I have reached a breaking point with super collecting to the extent of I need every color variation of his, third year prospect cards. I don't drive myself crazy looking for those, especially since ComC is kind of out of the game for me. I've reached a breaking point with them where I'm not looking at their site for much at all other than a reference. I'm not buying anything on there.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just absurd. And if they can make some changes or get things out, I think so this time when I got the cards, every card in the soft sleeve had a slip in it. That's something new. So they probably had to do that for everything. I think Carlos has touched on that where they're I don't know. So they know exactly where it is, or if they have to shift things around or whatever they do. Every card now has a slip tied to it or a barcode tied to it. But he is pretty affordable. So I've been going, and I actually took a break looking for his stuff because I went to some of my other PCs. Tony Gwynn, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest hitters, still very affordable in the sense, of trying to look for some of those, rare 90s inserts. I mean, Dave, I just got the 92 Elite. Now that's not rare, but that's an all-time classic insert, and they're $25-$30,
Mhm.
which is very affordable for your guy, in a all-time great, debatably all-time great insert set. Piazza is actually more expensive in some cases than I'd like him to be, but still not that upper echelon. He's like the high middle or the bottom of the top tier. So he's still out there. I don't look for him as much, but Moss has been somebody I've been keen on lately. He's probably the highest of all of them, and he's still, he's still very attainable and affordable. I'm putting together my my ultimate wants with him right now. That's a process because I'm kind of focusing just on his Minnesota Viking years, unless it's like a refractor. I would like to do his refractor run of Topps Chrome. So the more I think about it, like when I sell the Brady, what's the one card that I want? I'm probably going to add the Moss Topps Chrome refractor. There's enough of them out there that I'm not worried about, like, not going to be able to get it at that time. But
Just the base refractor, Bob, or are you looking at color refractors later on, though?
no, just just the base refractors. I would get I think the 1 year, I don't know what year it is. The year they did like camos this year. What was this? 12. I have the camo one in the 49ers uniform. I still need the Tennessee Titans refractor. I think that's 11. Keep right, there you go. Like, I would love to add nice. Mine's at PSA right now. Like I say, probably getting a 7. I haven't reached a breaking point with PSA. Now I see, because I have a handful of cards that they lowered it to 150, right? Haven't brought back regular service, but the Express is at 150, I think. They dropped it from 200 to 150. I have a few cards that might fit
I think so.
Like, I want to get my Herbert optic. It looks like a 10, man. It just looks sharp. But again, not really too much of a rush for. I mean, he's still unproven. He had a great rookie year, but he's not somebody that I need to like go out and get graded. I do want to get some of them cards to SGC to see if I can get them holdered. Just been dragging my feet on that. So like overall grading, haven't reached a breaking point. Buying eBay. I still shop there. I haven't I don't know like really how to get plugged in other than just buying from friends, looking at Facebook groups or Instagram sales, through other venues other than eBay. I don't know why. I mean, I'm willing to. I'm sure there's better deals on there. People may be willing to, be more flexible on the price because they're not getting crushed with fees.
Mhm.
I don't know. So I'd like to I'd like to go that route. Not to change the subject, but yeah. So I guess maybe if I ever reach the breaking point with eBay, I would seek elsewhere. Um, I've got enough friends that know what I collect when they come across something and they, interested, not just in this chat either. So, it's pretty, yeah. I've we've even kind of been nostalgic going back and collecting some Shaq stuff. Um, but geez, like okay, so the Lynchpin Moss, awesome card. The Lynchpin Shaq is like 4 times that much.
Yeah.
So that's absurd.
Yeah, that,
What's up with the linchpins without the linchpins? Like, have you seen those? Like without the hole, without the cutouts?
I have not, but
There's a Duncan on eBay right now. It's like, and it's graded by Beckett. So it's, I don't know if that is an error or a variation or if, I don't know what it is, but there's no, like, the linchpin insert set does not have the linchpins. So it's like, it's pretty asinine. Yeah, bought that basketball collection recently, which is, I was pretty pumped. The dude, I offered him a number, and he actually came back at me with $100 less than what I offered him. So that's the kind of guy he was. That's pretty cool. Complete 93, 94, and 94, 95 finest sets with Jordans, and the 93 actually had 2 extra Jordans. Everybody knows this. I'm just looking at it right here.
Any other treasures that you came across, though? I mean, that you weren't expecting to find or anything?
So I took, because I wanted to be able to make him a fair, a fair offer, and I was trying to take condition into, this was in there. He was a big Stockton Malone guy, so a lot of those cool '90s inserts he had of Malone. All the '93 finest refractors, but the cards that I had sold back when the Last Dance documentary, like stuff like this, because people were buying them for obscene amounts, Iverson Ultra Rookie, Morning second year refractor, stuff like that. I mean, these are a dime a dozen, but still cool part to have. Yeah.
That used to be a $20 card back at value.
Jordan Scoring Kings, that was a cool one. Second year Malone, and then the Stockton and Reggie Miller rookies. Like I said, a third one of these. This hot stuff from '95 finest Jordan. Well, I thought I was kind of neat. So the '94, '95 finest set that he had, every one was of the protections were peeled, except the Jordan and except the Grant Hill rookie. So that was kind of funny. A lot of the, like, just again, not high dollar cards, but cards that I remember collecting, these stadium clubs, but the when they changed the first day
Okay.
to that gold as opposed to like the silver shiny box, which I like the box better, but oh yeah, this was that
Oh, hot numbers.
yeah, of Malone. Now, like, I'd love to get the Shaq in this, but again, a lot of money. He had all the cool Scoring Kings, Beam Team, the Intense, just Power Tools, stuff I never even seen. Just lots of '90s foil, the Slam Cam,
Those are
1 in 90.
those are tough.
Yep, this Scoring King. So, yeah, we'll see. This is the old school first day issues. So he was telling me if it had here's a cool one, power in the key.
Oh, well,
So here's the this is the rookie year Stockton sticker. A lot of stuff I did not have. Here's a 2012 wait no 2012 92 93 Panini sticker of Malone, nice and shiny. It's not exactly rare, but one that I definitely never seen. 95 refractor with the coating of Malone. So I'm not exactly sure how to group these together. Here's the 93, 94 Jordan. It's out of the basketball set, but it's the silver signature. Golfing on the back.
Any Kobe inserts? Since I'm guessing he went through 96 at a
No,
minimum.
there was no Kobe. A couple Ray Allens, a couple Iverson, but no Kobe. This was I'm not sure I remember this set. This is the molten metal out of 95, 96 Fleer metal. Chris Webber. But the card is like super floppy. Like it's not stiff at all. It's like I don't know. Remember those out of 96, 97 Thunder basketball, the stickers, the Z-Klings?
The Z-Klings.
They were real like flimsy. That's the word, not floppy. Flimsy.
95, 96 flare metal hockey's like that too. The stock is thin.
Yeah, that was new. That was different to me. But here's your guy, Dave. If I could have got these in your care package, I would have. But Dominique, those of the refractors, you probably have those. Couple Garnets, some Garnett rookies, but this class of '95 with this kind of a shiny from Flair, the wave of the future from Flair. So lots of cool stuff. I mean, and those are just some of the highlights. I mean, this was basically all the ones that I felt like deserved a soft sleeve.
Go get your grandma.
Lots of inserts.
Go shit up.
It's this little dog. He won't leave me alone. Cece's dog.
Too. The Stardate Moss. Like that.
was that in the collection then? That Stardate?
No, this was one I just bought recently too. And then this was a recent purchase too. The Hit Machines from Metal with the gear.
I love those, but I'm
Those are
shocked
awesome.
how reasonable they are.
Yeah, this was under $5, man.
Because I know it was not like a 1 in 12 or maybe 1 in 24 pull, but I'm like 2 years before that, those were massive
Right.
cards, and then they're in the lower rung. Then
The Total D, that was a big one.
I had that. I did a lot of Stockton stuff back then. My brother collected Malone until he got out of it.
Stock.
Never was able to get that one, but Stockton, he had. He didn't have much either. It wasn't like a
No,
ton.
you didn't. I liked watching. It was kind of funny. I was thinking like, the beauty of YouTube where you can just search. I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard John Stockton's voice. Let me YouTube like an interview of Stockton just to like get a feel for his personality and stuff. And then like from there, YouTube is recommending me other NBA players talking about Stockton, and like how much of a beast he was. Like just like not even unsuspecting, I guess is the word. You wouldn't think how much of a beast he was playing against him, but
Come on, Bob. Make sure you're using the right nomenclature. Come on.
What
now.
is it?
I don't know.
I'd say like sneaky athletic. Because again, you look at him and he's like, man, this is like a dude you'll you're gonna play at your local Y every Sunday night or something. That some dude that's like a grinder from high school
Yeah.
that's 40 that still wants to play basketball. But I mean, his vision and just his ability to see without actually looking where he's passing the ball.
Yeah.
He was so good at that, and just knowing the basketball sense, having that like the acumen, the IQ, where you didn't have to sit there and do the old Celtics like bounce pass. No, he looked like he could fit that Celtics team with Red Auerbach, but he was in the more up tempo new style of basketball back in the late '80s, early '90s, where it's you have to play against Paul Westphal and the Suns scoring like 160 a game. You can't grind it out like an 82-74 win. The Knicks over the Eastern Conference.
Did you see that Dream Team documentary where in Barcelona, there was this one cool part about, I guess, the bus broke down or whatever, and this was after everything had already started. You know, they can't go anywhere without getting mobbed, but
Yeah,
I guess Stockton got off the bus and like their families are following him, and literally he walked with his wife and kids through like crowds of people, never got stopped or noticed at all. He's just, again, unsuspecting, like, and then guys like David Robinson or whoever, like, they're just like, man, they envied that, to be able to like have that sort of anonymity as a superstar basketball player.
it's like they're 6'9", 7 feet, and he's like
Right.
5'11", and
He
normal
looks
every
like
day.
a gym teacher. Right.
Yeah, he's the science teacher, Mr. Stockton.
Right. Yeah. Oh, a couple of these. I'll just these a little bit. This isn't even worth me like getting blown up. But do you remember 90? So this would have been 95, 96. They were the mystery finest, but then they had the orange border, but then they had the borderless ones
Yes,
that were rare. Pippen and Reggie Miller. So I'm not even sure. Like he knew exactly what he had. I was trying to contain myself, and I saw like the Scoring Kings Jordan. I mean, it's Jordan. It's something, but yeah, it wasn't. I definitely didn't rip him off, but I was thankful that he realized that, and then he's like, look, they're going to a good home. How about just this number? And so that had me feeling pretty good. He was putting in a fence, and the cost of lumber is expensive, so.
yeah. Materials this year are not.
Mine was over $5,000, so I can relate.
What's going on, Brad? Good job, Vinny.
Oh, I'm already screwing it up. It's backwards. Whatever
Is
I
Bobby
do.
still around? I have something. I wanted to show Bobby since he was here because I think he'd appreciate it because it's little trinkety but card related.
Ooh, he likes his trinkets.
They're cards, but they're kind of trinkety type card type thing. And by the way, Luka Modric plays for Real Madrid. I don't know why I said Barcelona before. I was corrected by the better half.
We know what you meant.
Trinkety. New word. Okay.
So this came out in 2003, 2004. Toronto Star, which I believe is a newspaper up there in to our friends in the north. They put a promotion on where they made 30 of these boxes. Each box has 5 collector cards per pack, 20 packs per box. Okay. So each of the packs has a shiny version of the Yager in there. It's you actually got a case from what I was told. 30 boxes in the case, and each box had one player with a shiny card, and then there was 100 base cards. So I saw this about 3 weeks ago. So these are all the shiny cards. One more to open. So each box had 20 of one of these cards and then the base cards. So what's cool about this is behind every card, it actually marks the space with the like a black and white of this card, so you know where to stick it. So Brodor's in here, Lemieux, Eiserman.
Foul.
Yep.
Foul.
Yep. So it's really different. So Jerome Amelia, Martin Brodeur, Sakic, Danny Heatley, Kovalchuk, Sundin, J.S. Jaguar, Jose Theodore,
What year is it?
Balfour, 04 or 03, 04. So let's try to. There's the Lemieux. He's card number 1 next to Eiserman. So, guy made me an offer. I took the offer. There's some write up in there, but then it gives you the checklist. It tells you who the 100 base cards are and the 30 shiny cards that are the 30 boxes. So I have about 10 of the boxes with the different players. I've been trying to get them all. So I got a couple Yoggers. I bought some lots for like back when they were cheap. So I got them for like $20 a box. So I was trying to build that whole thing. So just something tricky, something different. I've yet to find a Lemieux box. I found a couple packs that I got that have the Lemieux as the shiny card on front, but I have not been able to find a box with the Lemieux. So 18 years old, probably never going to find them, but never say never. Exactly, boys.
Exactly.
So something different.
I like it.
Yeah. Again, anything that is collectible, nice. I like the sort of pamphlet thing that shows the cards, because then it makes it easier to store. If you want to put it on top of like a dresser or something, you could fold it out and then put it that way. Or if you just want to tuck it away, you would have to have like a big old blind or a shoebox. You fold it up and then place it on top of something.
Yeah, because there was a guy selling one of every pack for like $30, so $1 a pack. And I came across this. I was going to get the 30 packs so I could make the shiny card set. And then I saw that for the $10 cheaper. I was like, and then he made me an offer, 15% off. He said, I'll get the shiny handy dandy collector's version, because up until then I never knew this existed.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty cool to find this. And it's just a collector's album, and it's got a bunch of kids on the front, on the back. So like Bobby said, it's really geared for the kids, which is what I kind of like, because I haven't showed C yet because she's been at school and soccer. So I have to show her a couple days from now when she has a break. But I think she'd enjoy that.
What's going on, Eric? I tend to agree. Something different, and not just a card you hold in your hand. Well, now it's got a cool sort of holder and a little more information, and yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I wonder how limited it is.
No idea. I have to try to look it up in the old Beckett and see if it's in there.
Stick Bobby on it. I bet you Bobby can find some information.
I guarantee he would.
Leverage their resources, you know. Let the hockey historian see if he can't take a jab at it and see what he can find.
Yeah, I'd love to find like 2 or 3 boxes of the Lemieux and just put them away. I like to finish all 30. That'd be even better to have that little set of. But it really kind of stinks because it'd be nice if it was 30 packs a box and you got all 30 of the shiny cards. But I got like 6 of the Madonnas. Some guy had a lot. And I put a $10 bid in, and I won all 6 boxes, and they were all Madonnas. So, Carlos, I might have to send one of those your way.
Not allegedly hashtag.
Correct.
Now, for hobby content, this will sort of wrap up the discussion and bring us to the end of the show, but what would be your breaking point there? Because there's a lot of douche nozzles out there that are just like spreading misinformation and nonsense, or things we've known for decades as new, as like there's supposed to be some hobby messiah with all this like golden pot of knowledge that they shockingly have just come across that nobody else has known. What would be, and I'll start again with you, Vinny, because we watch our fair share of idiots. What would be the point where you're just like, you know what? All those thoughts of a YouTube channel, I don't know. I'm disenfranchised with the the DNA that's being spread out there right now, and it's running thin. I can't handle it anymore. I'm gonna pass. What would it come if it was? Would it be everybody wearing home ec clothes, or everybody looking like a human stink line, or everybody sizing down another? And then that'd be the small army would be out there.
Well, it already almost happened once. So, for a year, I was just researching, wasn't buying anything. And I was watching this great community of people. I'm like, those back pages, Elite Go 3, Ricky Russo. I'm like, these guys are cool. And I probably had I had a notebook filled of people I was watching. And I'm like, this is great. Everybody's so nice to each other. Nobody's a jerk, aka Jagoff, and things were great. I will now create a YouTube name so I can go on there and participate in the chats and all that stuff first. Well, that didn't go so well. When you're the new guy, even though you can offer a bunch of stuff, even though you're not really new and you've collected on and off 40 years of your life, and you were at the heyday of the 90s, the whole decade of the 90s, part of the 80s, and you have a pretty solid knowledge of all that stuff, and you've done a year of research of everything you've missed, and you're getting pretty solid at it, not so much. But then all of a sudden I found Dave. And then the rest is history. And
I'm
then
sorry.
Steve. Yeah. And then Steve showed up. And then me and Paul showed up for the first day of the IRP. And the rest is history. I don't know what it would take to really irk me again. Because you can have all that freaking content you want. If Dave Archer stops making videos, maybe that'll be my breaking point. If Carlos says, no more. If we don't get a monthly Broncos 79 video, if Bob Lewis would renounce the Hall of Fame and leave, that may be my breaking point. If Crypto Griff cashes in all the crypto, that could be a breaking point. But frankly, I'll watch 10 channels. At this point, I love to try to find new content, new people doing stuff, but I'm finding myself, but you're still a collector. You're still a collector. And it's.
But am I? I only pick up lately. It's been one card a month. Am I actually a collector?
Screw that. You're a collector. Vinny said so. All right. Back to it. I'll always find something if it's open. What amazes me is I'm watching a box break of the new Skybox. The only person that had a clue what was going on was Zeri 11. Well, Zeri 11 is the champion of that. More power to that dude. He does his research. He knows his pack odds. He knows what he's opening up. He knows what he can pull, and he tells you about it. And it's funny most of the time. So I'll stick with a guy like that opening a box over the big breakers because it's entertaining and he knows his stuff. But to watch somebody say, "What's this?" That's probably the hardest card to pull out of there next to the Jambalaya. That's those new, they look like the studio with the little dots. I can't think of the name. But you can hold up. Yeah, the Platinum Portraits. That's what they have is the big insert. Because I think the Ovechkin was going for like $2,000.
Wow.
So it's if you're gonna break something, know what you're talking about. Write it down. Figure it out. You owe it to the people that have paid their money to have knowledge of what's being pulled. Because maybe they, as consumers, didn't do all the research. Hopefully they did. Because if I'm buying into a break and I'm buying the Penguins or the Red Wings or whoever, I'm going to look at that checklist and go up and down. As soon as it hits cardboard, whatever it is.
Connection.
Yeah, cardboard connection. Thank you. And I'm going to go through it and I'm going to figure out what's in there. Now, lucky for me, the better half bought me 2 boxes. But being the hashtag invest lady that she is, she said one you can open and one you're going to put away. Because I told her the story of the 96, 97 box that I bought, and she found that intriguing. So, hashtag invest tires for the truck one day. So, I'll let C pick one of the 2, and then they have blasters of that stuff. So I've been looking, they're outrageously expensive, but I went to 2 Meijer, 2 Targets, and a Walmart. Nothing so far, but like I said, we're going there anyhow. We're looking for hoagies for the soccer tournament for the past weekend. Guess where I'm going? I'll see you in 2 minutes. I'm going to go back to the cards. And Walmart.
The key is, Vinny, you need to figure out when they stock the shelves. That's why you're not finding anything.
Potato. I realize that, but sometimes with all the stuff going on, I can't get there all the time. But I'll take the leftovers. Like I said, the one Target had the upper deck extended. They probably had 5 or 6 blasters of that stuff, and that's the only thing I saw card wise. Now apparently one of my Targets have fire, 2021 fire. So tomorrow night I might swing past there and see if they're still there. Yeah, Eric, I got moved upstairs because I'm on dog duty.
Just like he is every night.
He's sleeping on the vent. And then Dryden went with the wife, and he'll sit between the rooms and guard the child and the wife, and then the little dog curls up on top of the wife or the daughter, whatever he decides to.
I'm surprised they're not there bothering you excessively like they normally are about this time.
They already did it, so
Well, I know, but still, usually it lasts longer than what it has.
Yeah.
I said duty, did I? Didn't I?
You're on dog duty.
Oh, aha. Brakes not turned on. I turned that off at 6:30 when I was done with work.
Yeah.
I don't have any breaking points with content because I don't waste my time with all the crap I don't care to watch. I watch what I want to watch,
Why?
and it's very selective, and it's way backed up. I think I'm sitting on like 60 videos that I need to watch. I'm a little backed up, a little behind.
Get you some Docalax for that, or some fiber, Metamucil.
No, I don't have any problem with that. I promise you, I'm pretty regular. But thanks for asking.
Yeah, Bob Lewis decides to have a bonfire in the backyard and throws a chair on it live.
Breaking point.
If Mike, baseball collector, decides to rip a case of Bowman Chrome, breaking point. If sports card investor decides to collect Josh Johnson, that might be a life breaking point. If Team Home Ec close sizes down, that's gonna be a breaking point. That you can't size down any further. It's you're literally shopping in like the Husky Kids section. So if you go any further down, it's pretty much like a onesie. If he wears a onesie to a card show, breaking point.
If the Pirates become relevant and people start collecting them,
Yeah.
that's a breaking point.
Yeah, if all the flippers go to say, hey, you should really collect these cards and not sell them all the time. You're like, okay, delete the YouTube account. You're like, okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah, bye-bye IRP.
The end is nigh.
Yeah.
Carlos, cue the meme, the fire and brimstone meme, please.
Or the $1 Million Man. That's a pretty.
That's a good one too.
So I don't think it'll happen. We've seen waves before. Ed alluded to it last night. I mean,
Do you not feel like it's coming back? I know there's elements to it that I don't feel like we're ever going to return to quote normal, but I don't feel like it was last year. Like like the luster has worn off for some, and they've just kind of weeded them out. And
not enough of them. We need to look
enough.
for more accidents without dash cams. The thing that I've never understood from the old guard is they'll complain a lot. There's the guys that go away, and that's always happened. Well, it's not like this. It's not like this. Well, you know what? You don't look like you did in high school.
right.
You don't have the same vehicle or the same like stamina, whatever it may be for stamina. You don't have this, that. There's a lot of things that change. It's called life.
I noticed in your live stream, Dave, there was somebody at one point that popped in that I think you sort of like I haven't talked or thought of you or whatever in years, Alan maybe or somebody,
Yep.
but
That was another guy that was on blog more, and he wasn't really in our group. What the hell was that? Garrett?
That's R2D2. The wife's tone is Chewbacca because I had to figure out the thing that would annoy her the most. So I made anytime she texts me, Chewbacca.
Could be me burping. That would be.
But when you're in a meeting with like 30 people and you forget to turn the ringer off and your phone roars and people look at you and go, "Who's that?" And you go, "My wife." That's when it's reached its point of why you did it. I digress.
Steve put it on. Alan, ADS 912. We used to call him AIDS 912. Never liked it, but I think that's his.
I can't imagine why.
His name's Alan Shipper. And I think whatever the D would be the middle name, but big Chargers.
Didn't he do soccer too?
Yes, he was.
He was like one of the first ones I remember who actually shared soccer cards on video.
Yeah, and I mean it wasn't just like, oh, I'm gonna try to like invest in the hype. He loves soccer, and I mean he was buying that stuff back then, before like all this Panini Flawless and all this other nonsense started trickling out.
If he held on to it, he might have a nice little stash.
Oh, I'm sure he's got an insane collection of it. I know he sold some, and he goes through the ebbs and flows too, because he just like the disenchantment of the hobby, or the just like you get frustrated. But yeah, seeing him pop in there, I know I haven't talked with him in ages.
Well, Denny being there live. Denny being there.
Yeah, Denny's starting off. Seeing him, a lot of the guys. I wish they'd jump over here. Again, you don't need to sit. We've said for the whole broadcast. Pop in and say, "Hey, like Dewey, I got you guys on. I'm sorting through coins. I'm sorting through cards, whatever the case may be." Just say, "Hey, what's going on? Like the discussion. Here's a point. Here's my point," and then I'll jump off and listen. Just again, that's what I told that last night. If I'm gonna claim anything or say, "Hey, this is what I brought to the table," besides negativity and being an asshole and constantly beating points to death, it'd be the connecting of people that normally you wouldn't think of a year ago, a year and a half ago, before COVID, or as COVID started. You're like, fuck, Bob Lewis and I aren't going to chat all the time for the next year and a half. Steve isn't going to come back on YouTube. Matt, Carlos, Jeremy, all these people we interact with, all these different folks that he's in that corner, there's a couple over there's one there. Now you have a group of people that it feels like the old school. That 18 months ago, you put us all in a room and say, okay, we're going to be cliquey because I know these guys over here. Who the fuck's that Lemieux collector over there? I don't know him. Let's not talk to him.
I wouldn't.
He's got 3 gold chains on and like 3 pinky rings. He knows Joey numbers. No. I'm not.
Vinny, do you have that Italian horn or whatever chain? I see somebody. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, what is that?
Yeah. Prevents the maloink. Same thing as this.
Yeah, it's like a little. You know what it looks like.
Yeah. I do not have one.
Yeah.
I have,
allegedly.
I have a medal of St. Jude, the patron saint of lost causes. Since
you're a lost cause,
pretty much. So that's the only one I support.
I mean that with all the love in the world too, Vinny. You know that.
That you're gonna hear a knock on your door pretty quick.
So
come on out here. Nope. So that's the one thing I like. I like at least being somewhat of a facilitator of relationships. Just bringing the people together. Folks that normally wouldn't have thought to look out or search out other folks. Because you're, like I said to last night with Eddie, get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your lane. I mean, if you're watching the, I just told the Philly guys, if you watch the same guys all the time, that's when you start getting into like your little bubble, which will be another show down the road. But you have to expand that.
Yeah.
Just because again you're getting, oh, I hear the same, I love Eric, but you start hearing the same stuff. You
I mean,
listen
like,
to me, you hear the same stuff. You got to jump over here, listen to Nolan, listen to Ed once in a while, not all the time.
it's tough. It's tough at this point. Like, 3 years into this, I'll be I'll be honest. Like, I'm not. There's not too many new channels that I'm like engaging in, because not because they're not out there and they're not worthy of me watching them or whatever. They're not even, they're good. I don't even have enough time in the day to watch my friends' videos. You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes I just support people with a sub and a thumbs up, and I can't comment on everybody's video. So it's like I get in my head about that kind of BS, which I gotta believe that if they know me, then our friendship isn't riding on whether or not I comment and thumbs up their video. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm not keeping track of who's doing it on my videos once a month.
As I've always said, I watch, you'll get a thumbs up, but I very rarely comment.
Yeah.
It's just it's one of those in which I go back to my prime years, and I had my list of X amount of people that I watched religiously. Anytime a video came up, I made sure I watched it. It may not be the same day. The only ones I would like make sure that I watched on the day that it was uploaded is like if I sent them a care package or something, and I wanted to see it, right? But I felt like I had to comment. It's like if I didn't comment, I felt as though it's like they didn't think that I supported them. And not that it was ever to that point. It never got to that point. It was never a thing with anybody. But at the same time, it got to the point to where it got overwhelming. When you sit there and watch 30 videos in a week, let's say, and that's 30 comments, and let's say in that week you also posted 2 videos and you had substantial number of comments on your video, and then you feel obligated to respond to said comments, it gets difficult. It becomes time consuming. And I get the reason why people feel obligated that they need to do it. But at the same time, if you're close enough with those people, they ought to know. It's like they should know that you're one of those views. They're one of those thumbs up. You shouldn't always have to put something out there to let somebody know that you watched it. If you truly do support them, then there's a view, there's a thumbs up. And even in a potential random conversation, hey, by the way, I I really like that such and such that you showed in your last video. It's one of those when you do that in side conversations and things along those lines, that to me is more important than throwing a comment on a damn video. Because it then becomes more personal. It's that like personal interaction.
Like with like Facebook. I'm not on Facebook anymore, but like, Facebook tells you when all your friends' birthdays are, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to post amongst the other 100 comments that say happy birthday because Facebook reminded you. Like, it might help me, it might jog a memory, but I would text the person, I don't even do that now because I'm not on there. But like, that's what I would the personal like one-to-one like that somehow made me feel like I was doing a little something extra than just what everybody else was doing. And again, that's probably my own stuff that I feel like I needed to do that. Again, not my friendships I'm thinking aren't grounded in like what our social media interaction is. It's more than that. So, but this is also I'm thankful for these platforms too, because this is where this conversation could have just as easy happened offline, and we could sit here for 3 hours and like it's happened in the past where it's just just us just BSing, which is just as cool. So it's both a blessing and a curse sometimes. I feel like, for sure.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You feel you need to do this, you need to do that. If you don't, you feel bad. You're just like,
well,
"Fuck that."
here's an example. Dave, you sent me a care package. I haven't made a video, and I've had that sucker for 10 days. Now I showed a little bit of it on, I think, last week, but I haven't. Here's even what's even sadder is, I shot a video, but I don't think it was like good enough. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in my head about like what my reactions weren't cool and like weren't good enough to like. So now I'm like, okay, I got a couple other that are stacked here. One from LA Pats is sitting there, and one from my buddy Walking Block. I'm like, okay, so I could redo Dave's within that, and then I could up the ante a little bit with like how pumped I am with what you gave me. So it's like crazy nonsense like that stuff. I'm like, I'm wasting too much time and energy thinking about this stuff when it's important to me, and like I could tell you that in a separate conversation. Like, man, that meant a lot to me that you went out of your way. I made a purchase, and then you threw in some other stuff that was that clearly tells me that you know what I collect and you know what I enjoy, and well, I sent you one there. I mean, there's stuff, and nothing's like really high dollar or anything, but I know it's stuff that you collect and stuff that you collect, stuff that you enjoy, and they're just cards that belong in your PC. You probably have doubles of them already. Now you got triples, but yeah, it's that cliche of like it's a thought that counts type of thing, and I don't know, that goes a long way sometimes. It does for me.
And we appreciate you, bro. I can't help myself. I don't always take advantage of opportunities, but maybe I should more frequently. But there's nothing wrong with the cliche, though, Bob. It truly is for those of us that do this because we want to. And going back to what Ed mentioned last night, the whole just because type situation, it truly is the thought that counts. This isn't about value, as Ed brought it up earlier. Value is irrelevant. As collectors and being a part of the community, if all we think about is value, then there's going to be a lot of situations in which somebody sends a care package to somebody that they pulled a card 10 years ago and they got really close with somebody. They're like really close, like we are, talking about family and ups and downs and, all the good, bad, and indifferent crap that we deal with day in and day out. And they send it to somebody and the card is worth $1,000 or valued at $1,000. Then you have the person who receives it. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh crap. Well, I have to find a way to return the favor, so to speak.
Right.
And guess what? It's not going to happen. It's you start building yourself a hole, which is why the whole just because / care package thing is not as prevalent as what it used to be. And that's because of the quote unquote perceived value of some of these cards. I could give two shits. If it's something, Vinny sending me a freaking Patrick Mahomes prestige rookie because I had no Patrick Mahomes rookie. Granted, it's not $1,000 card, but at its peak, it was pushing, I think, 165 or 175. But I don't care. That's irrelevant to me. The value of it is irrelevant. The value that's most important is the fact that him and his daughter were sitting there talking about this stuff, and they decided that I should have one. That's the value. That's priceless. You can't put a price on that.
I tested her too, so this is key. So I'm sitting there with her, and we were going through, and I had 2 or 3 of those we pulled. I think we had 2 of the one I sent you, and then we had a parallel. And I said, Steve always talks about Mahomes rookie, never got one. Not all the time, but you mentioned it. I said, do you want to send it to her, to him? She goes, yeah, why not? Then here was the test. What's worth 100 X amount of dollars? Does he have it? This is her quote. Does he have it? I said, no. Does he want it? I said, yes. Then send it to him.
You passed.
Oh, kid. You're at the time you're 8, going on 9. No, she was 9 at the time. You're 9 years old. You get it. It doesn't matter what the freaking card cost. My buddy would like to have that card. I got doubles, even if it didn't. It's somebody that you were talking about putting the set together, yada yada yada. And I said, it's just like if I had something for Dave or Bob or whoever, and they collect it. What's it going to do in my collection? Sit there, trade bait. That's all it's going to be for me. I do like to have a card at every, like the better players. For me, like the kid said, build a museum. But I had 2 or 3 of them. What am I going to do with 2 or 3 of them?
Yeah.
Sell them? I'm a collector. I don't sell to make money. I go to work to do that. If that was my job to sell cards, then I'd sell them. But my job isn't to sell cards. I collect. Like my old man said, do you enjoy this hobby? Yes. Are you going to sell cards? As soon as you start selling those cards in a manner other than to support your hobby, everything changes. And it does. Because now you're more worried about the value than you are the hobby that you're in. You're worried about selling stuff.
It's a business. It's no longer
It
a hobby.
changes. Exactly. You've made your hobby into a business. Like you said, it's perfectly fine if you would do it. But it'll change how you think, how you collect. It's not your collection anymore, son. It's your inventory. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's not your collection. It's your inventory. And when you put these people that have inventory and say the hobby is good because they're collecting, they're not collecting. Please stop saying it. They are not collectors. They are salespeople. They are taking their inventory and moving it. They can care 2 craps about what they have. There is a discerning piece there that has to be identified. And if it's not,
I
you're
know
blurred.
that there are people that are in the business that have there is still
yeah,
like, so I think a Triple Crown, JT, like his
Yeah.
Miguel, he still collects Miguel Cabrera, but ultimately he is in business, which
Yeah.
which again, as you said, perfectly fine. And I'm sure all those things that you mentioned about, his perspective now, being different is accurate. And again, totally fine. He's trying to make money for his business. Okay. Um, but he's not collecting anything else but his guy, really. Even I'd be willing to bet he's not really buying Miggy's out of his business money. I mean, he probably has that as a separate budget. He would
He isn't.
probably have. Yeah, he would have to, right?
We had him on the show some time ago and talked specifically about that point. You know,
Okay.
how do you separate? You are in the business. This is your job. This is your profession, but you are also a collector.
Right.
You know, how do you separate that? How do you, do you have to like basically put on a different hat in your way of thinking if you're focusing on a business deal and keeping that separate compared to, your budget and your collecting hat, so to speak? And, it's one of those in which there are some out there that can do it. Ryan's another one. I
You
mean,
got to be disciplined.
Ryan does it. He's just taken his collection to like the 10th degree.
Ryan, who? I don't know Ryan. Do I know Ryan?
RBI Crew 7. He's always collected Randy Moss. He's always collected LeBron James. Always. For a long time. But because LeBron James is now through the roof, you're coughing up a lot more money when it comes to, adding anything to the collection from that perspective. But he's also been able to separate some of that. So, not saying that it can't be done. You can do both. But the vast majority of people, as you alluded to, Vinny, and I firmly believe this, is that it's inventory. It's not, they're not collecting. And there's nothing wrong with it. We're not saying that there's nothing wrong. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Everybody comes into a hobby or a space for whatever motive. Everything is acceptable to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different. Bob, we know you've moved stuff to fund other stuff. Dave is moving stuff in order to fund other stuff. I have done the same thing. We've all done it to a degree, but we've never shifted to where that's like the focal point.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I have and I'm staring at right now on this desk, like I said, that's in disarray since I moved back into the office, this is not my inventory. At some point, some of this stuff that I'm staring at is going to end up with somebody else at some point. I don't need 15 of a certain card. I don't need 6 of. I don't. It takes up space. It may not be worth $1,000, but at the same time, I know it means something to somebody else, and I could probably tell a story about it. Like, I pulled this. This is something that I opened. I pulled this. I didn't go buy it. I pulled this. So there's a multitude of factors that come into play with the whole mindset. And I don't know. That is a topic that, we've touched on multiple times, and we could probably spend multiple episodes on again. And, the positives and the negatives of, being a dealer or a collector or a flipper, and what really, they all serve a purpose. They are all good for the hobby to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
But, at the same time, there is some negative aspects to it, because there are sometimes for us, it proves to be difficult in the event that we want to get something that is a grail, and because of an iconic name from an insert or a parallel set transfers across multiple sports, it does impact it. So,
And Eric says something here: never sell what you collect. To a degree.
Yeah, I've sold Shaq cards before because what I had into it, Vinny, was way less than what it was going for at the time. But to the larger extent, I agree with that. but
Yeah, if you've got like, let's say you had like three of the, let's say the Shaq, it's Jordan. You had three of the scoring kings. A year and a half ago, it would behoove you, obviously, to sell probably two of those. Yeah, I want to keep one because again, I love the card, love the design.
yeah,
Reminds me of childhood. If the others are going for 800, 900, and you had, again, not to use the stupid idiots of today, that what do you got into it? Okay, what do you got into it? Shut up. You got like 20 to 30 bucks into it because you got it 25 years ago. Those moments, those times, I'm not saying like because I won't sell my Lombardi auto. Unless I'm on my deathbed and I need to pay for medical stuff or something enormous comes along where I'm forced to run back into that corner. Then those things become in play. Not for other cards. You're not getting my Night Train Lane auto. You're not getting my triple NT stuff to 5. You're not getting my quad NT stuff. You're not getting my Earl Dutch Clark helmet pieces. None of that stuff's coming out because that's the stuff that if I thin out everything else, now I've got the cornerstone collection. I don't have to worry about the fluff, which I still love. But if all that fluff allows me to go and purchase some stuff that otherwise I just couldn't pool funds, you can only have so many debts to Joey Numbers before Joey Numbers comes and asks for payment. And when you don't have payment, Joey Numbers doesn't say no for an answer. Yeah. He says,
takes
hey,
he takes
time-
your Lombardi autograph.
he says, time's up. So if I've got 4 Thurman Thomas autos, I can afford to move a couple. If I've got 2 of the 06 or 3 of the 06 National Treasures triple patches of John Elway to 25, maybe it's a Hall of Fame, maybe it's like the NFL. I can afford to even move 2 of those if I wanted. Because they're not, I mean, I like them. At the same time, if somebody else out there is going to be, oh, I really like that. Okay. That 40, 50, 60 bucks is going to help me get some Brodeur number to 25. That I'm not going to find at a card show. eBay, maybe on eBay. Maybe somewhere on the social media platforms. Maybe. But there's other Brodeur collectors out there that have been doing this for 25 years. If they don't have it, their deep pockets might win first. If I can flip quickly through those cards that I know I love, but at the same time, if I've got multiple copies, if I've got 5 Calvin Johnson patches, I can see what the market is out there. If somebody really wants to pick up one of mine and they offer a number, I can't turn them down. I still have 3, 4, 7 of them. This isn't like these are my 2 Calvin Johnsons. I'm getting rid of them. No, I love Megatron. I don't want to get rid of any of them, but number to 5 game used patch. Somebody's going to come along and say they want it. So when you collect something and you actually love collecting it, it does make it harder to move. Well, that's always going to be the case. But you have to have your focus on what you really want. You can't be, and this will be the point I like to make with this. This isn't like some of the people out there might be watching regularly, the card show vlogs. I'm going to try to trade up. Trade up to what? Okay, I want the Jordan rookie. Great. That's a great strategy. It's going to be an iconic card forever unless he all of a sudden does some unsightly
He
and
murders Scottie Pippen.
yeah. If he goes out and decides that women aren't equal and something along that line, we'll go down that road with him. But that card's going to hold value. It might not hold the value of 6 to 8 months ago, but it's going to hold significant value because it's a Michael Jordan rookie card, as Don West used to say about the North Carolina ones, which weren't actually rookie cards.
Michael Jordan rookie.
But we're not like you with your Clemente stuff. You're not going and moving it 2 weeks later like these guys are.
Yeah.
These gals, they're like, I got my Grail. And then next week's video, you see, well, I'm going to think about trading this Michael Jordan and try to trade off the Steph Curry card. No, that's not even a lateral move. You're trading down. No matter what that Curry is, because you're not getting the NT, the RPA. You're not getting that. That's well above that Jordan. You say you wanted something, and again, they're not as old as us. They're in their mid-20s. They're all idiots.
As we were back then.
This wasn't the card that we'd look at the Beckett and be like, that's an $800 card. How the hell is that $800? I've never, you see the Nolan Ryan rookie? And again, you see like the Mickey Mantle stuff back then. When we were kids looking in the Beckett, that was a ton. But it was the Nolan Ryan rookie and it was the Jordan rookie. Those were the two cards that they were old, but they weren't. The Jordan was newish. Ryan, old. Mantle, it's like, oh, those guys are really old. You looked at that and that was like your Grail. That's your two of your four Mount Rushmore cards. Most everybody as a kid. Then you probably throw in the Upper Deck Griffey and something else.
82 traded Ripken.
Yeah. Or the 75 Brett and Young. Something like that where it's like, man, those I'd love to get that. Or the 86 Conseco Donruss rated rookie or whatever it was. When we had Grail cards, when we have Grail cards, we're not looking, when we get them at the card show, Ed's not trading that Trout PSA 10. Those are cards that, even if they don't stick with you forever, you're not moving them in any shapely, timely fashion. You are holding them. That is the epitome of a long hold card. And these guys out there, that's something. When we make sales, when we have to do our due diligence to try to fund the cards that we want to get, people realize it. You're not seeing in our videos. You're not seeing even if we're not showing it. You're seeing on Instagram, oh, there's all these other cards coming in from a player. Well, how are you funding that? We're not being that way under the table. You might not get 100% full transparency of what we're doing, but you know we're selling this. You're seeing the videos of what we get in. And most of the time it's a paper trail back to eBay. You can look on eBay and completed sales and look where most of us have gotten the stuff. And that's where you have to sort of have that balance. If you've got 6 Night Train Lane cut autos, yeah, you probably can afford to move one. If you've got one, you don't want to move that because again, those don't come along. This isn't a Tatis PSA 9 Topps rookie. So that's where Eric's point. Yes, you don't want to sell what you collect, but if you've got multiples, even if it's not the same, and you can sort of leverage that into more rare, more desired pieces for your collection, it would behoove your collection and behoove you to do so. And there's a 30-minute rant, a ramble, or diatribe.
Many valid points in there, though. I don't remember this lawsuit. I don't.
I'm trying to remember it too.
No, that
Doesn't
not-
ring a bell with me either.
no, we're 0 for 4, Eric. Yeah, I would say we should remember it, but at the same time, they're not nothing jogging my mind.
Were there fakes out there or something?
But I wasn't a baseball guy either, so
Yeah, that was my brother's department.
Yeah, there were fakes, but pretty much with everything. I remember that underneath. Watch Mattingly counterfeit. Or the 84 Fleer update. Watch Puckett, Gooden, Saberhagen, Clemens counterfeit.
Saberhagen.
Had to throw him in because back in the
Yeah,
late
man.
90s, early 2000s, late 80s, early 90s, he was
Him and Wally Joyner.
super solid. And Kevin Alka-Seitzer and who else? Quisenberry, who passed away a number of years ago.
Dude, Kevin Mitchell for a minute even was the man.
Ron Gant
Ron Gant.
in the 90s, he was a powerhouse for Atlanta. They forget how good Ron Gant was.
He's got some cards with a shirt off that I got.
He was cut up.
Big boy.
Where Sheffield had like the buggy whip with the bat swing. Gant didn't have that, but he had those quick wrists that were. He put that ball out quickly. So, any of you guys have any thoughts on like selling stuff that you collect to fund something else, or are you just like, nah, I'm not going to sell a Lemieux to get another?
We had a 13 card regular service PSA order that came back, and there was 3 Shaq Beams in there, 92 Shaq Beam teams, 2 9s and an 8. We sold one of the 9s to get to help pay for the rest of the order basically. So I'm gonna keep a 9. I'll probably sell I'll sell an 8 later on, but I'm in a hurry at this point. I'll keep the 1. I just tell myself that that's the first one I ever pulled. I don't know for sure, but nobody can tell me that it's not.
I was going to say, who's going to tell you that it's not?
So
It's not me. It's Dave's fan, I think,
yeah, I got a
or
fan.
somebody's got a fan. Oh, so it's Bob. It's all Bob.
Yeah,
So you with me.
we've got some nice temps going on. So
It's hard
I've
as
had
heck in static, so
And I'll go with LA Pats coming up there. I have doubles of Lemieux. I love doubles. There's certain cards I want as many as I can get. But if there is another collector out there and that said collector needs one of my doubles for me to get a card that I do not currently possess, I will happily trade that card to get the card I do not have.
Vinny, does Lemieux have any in that new metal?
No legends in the metal.
No legend.
There is no legends in the metal. So
stupid upper deck. Oh, that makes me mad.
deal with it, Dave. Deal with it.
I'm trying to, the best I can.
Have a cookie. Have a cookie. It'll make you feel better. I'd offer you a chicken sandwich. But there's not a cookie.
I was going to say he needs a chicken sandwich.
But I'll tell you what, if we open that thing and I pull Ovechkin green PMG in it, I will be shopping that thing around, even though I love Ovechkin. I would rather trade that PMG green to get maybe like a lower end Ovechkin rookie, a Crosby rookie, and put money towards Lemieux. I would have no problem moving that because I want to open it. I would rather, I'm weird. I would rather put that base set of 100 cards together and say, hey, I opened this with my kid. Remember when we did this? Then we took what we didn't want. We moved it to get something else we did want. We'll buy some Pokemon cards too, maybe some Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever the kid wants. But I want to show her that it's okay to open something, get something you wouldn't really want, and move it to get you something that you would. It's how we've done things since 1989 when this all started for me, 1988. Because, yeah, 88, 89 was the first pack of cards I bought, hockey. So, what is that? 33 years I collected on and off. It's the same strategy we used 33 years ago. It hasn't changed.
Yeah, I think we can pretty much all agree if we have something like a Tom Brady rookie that we could move, and something of that ilk, when the time is right, whenever that time is, we'll know. Well, we'll make do with what we can. And like you said, you get a PMG green, that's going to fund quite a bit of things. You find that if you shop that to the Ovi the Great Age or whatever on Insta, he might be one guy that pipes in and says, you know what, I want that. Tom Brady wins another Super Bowl, he retires. Maybe that next week is the time a specific rookie goes on the old auction block. You don't know. It just, things may fall into place. But if we don't sell, we don't sell. If we sell, we sell. We know, being very seasoned collectors. Well, we know when the time's right. We're not going to sit there.
I hear you, man. The guy could win. Geez, he's 44. He's playing like a 35-year-old, man. It's crazy.
Playing at least like a 38-year-old.
Yeah, at least 38.
Like Yannick said, my cards, my collection, my way. Not sorry. Exactly. You don't have to apologize for how you do your thing. It's the preface of it's my collection.
Yeah.
I'll do as I please. If it's your inventory, you are free to do as you please.
Yeah.
Just make the discerning of what is collection, what is inventory. That's all I'm saying.
Well said.
And to do it as, for me, again, as transparent as possible.
Yep.
Don't do it because you want views. Don't do it because you want to bump your name up in the influencership, unless you are transparent about that. That's when you start talking about both sides of your mouth, that's when you start getting in trouble. You're either going to lose the core group you came with, or you're going to lose your fly-by-night buddies that are there for the influencing chitter-chatter. So collection direction can always change. Doesn't matter. That's just tell people. Tell people, say, hey, and going back to the just because, we've said that a lot of times. I collect Terrell Davis. Okay, man, I got a package from Rennie in 2007. Got some Terrell Davis cards in there. 6 years later, I'm like, you know what? Let's run its course. We've met Steve. Hey, Rennie, mind if I send these to Steve? Even if Steve offered, he's like, money. I'm like, nah, no. Just, you want them? Let's work something out down the road if you find something I want. Transparency, because again, if somebody put the time in, they're thinking of something for you, the least you owe them, if you're considering moving that stuff, is being gracious enough. And again, this is, a lot of people say, who cares that you sent it to them, their cards now, fuck off. But that's where the relationships come in. If you want that relationship to continue and be strong, you laugh. You don't give a shit, you do it behind their back and they find out, and the relationship becomes fractured. So
We all know somebody like that first guy you mentioned that says, once it's yours, he doesn't care anymore.
mhm.
I'm like that. Like I said, if he could move that to Mahomes to get a Terrell Davis, it works out in the end. Ha ha! But here's my thought about it. I said a Mahomes rookie. I know he collects Terrell Davis. If my Mahomes gets him Terrell Davis that he'll never sell, but that makes me feel that I was a part of getting that TD card that's going to stay with him forever.
There you go.
That, and if he didn't do it, if he sold it to do something, whatever. But to me, but then Dave sent me that Fire on Ice out of my cold dead hand. Or as the better half would say, when your hand is dead and cold, we'll sell it. But I don't think C will, because she knows the sentimental value of those Lemieux cards to me. Probably would, I'm trying to teach her. I hopefully have a lot of time to convey all this. I write notes for her. I try to explain stuff. And I think she gets it, but we'll see. I like to think I'm right and the better half's wrong on this one.
Don't let her hear you.
She's sleeping, so I don't think I'm good, but
You're
you
good.
never know.
You said the right and wrong together. That's like a fire whistle.
Or the dogs are going to go narc me out.
Yeah.
What? Timmy's in the well? No. Vinny's in something bad. And then she'll be standing in that doorway, staring me down.
Pipe wrench in her hand.
Yeah.
Well, another positive, negative, whatever you want to call it, discussion. It was in depth and a lot of twists, a lot of turns.
Covered a lot of ground.
Once again, for just something that I couldn't figure out which way I wanted to go with the topic this week, and I'm like, that write-up seems good enough, and I think we can do a little with it to get a couple subheadings in there.
This podcast has reached its breaking point.
No, never.
Ending point for the episode, maybe.
Yeah.
For the episode. Yeah.
For this. And good night, Eric. So yeah, it was good. We'll try to have the placeholder up earlier. Like I said, I started like Saturday, and I think I got up Sunday afternoonish, maybe. It just nothing was coming to me. Nothing.
The next show, I'll be at a hotel in Green Bay. Next
Call up
Tuesday.
Ronnie, get him on.
I did. I reached out to him. And Mark's an hour and a half away from Green Bay, so we're gonna try to connect a little bit while I'm out there. So we'll see what happens.
And you'll miss it by what is that? Next Wednesday or next Tuesday will be what?
21st.
Yeah, if you were in Green Bay in like 12 days after that, which I know you won't be. That would be probably one of the most epic mini get-togethers of all time, because I'll be down there then. Joey, you guys going to the football game.
Really?
Try to get Scotty over there. Try to get Mark up there, man. That would be. I have to get the bail money ready. So yeah, that's I'll try to meet up with them at some point. Just because, again, I've never met Joey. Michael's hopefully coming up from Missouri. I haven't seen him since 2017. Eric, I've never met. 62 Chunk on YouTube way back in the day. And then Marcus, Lambo Leap fan. I've never met him. Another guy from blog and YouTube back in the day. So hopefully it works out. So I got a pile of stuff that I want to give to Michael and watch his reaction. I'm going to tape it. So
Nice.
if we go out to eat or something quick, and I don't know, it'd be nice to see some people too. I don't want to do it all the time, but once in a while, it's good to have in person and be like, what's going on, and all that fun. But I think we did well tonight. First 45 minutes, probably a wash. We just sort of, we went old school. We went vintage IRP. We just deviated from the norm and
Hard left.
completely ignored the topic. But came around to it, and I think a lot of good points by everybody, including in the chat. So,
R.I.P. Norm McDonald.
oh yeah, that's started off with that, and that's
It's tough.
a soul crusher.
Yeah, man. Anyways, do your ending. I don't want to start another one. I got to get to bed.
Vinny, thank you for jumping on.
Anytime.
Vinny, Robert, thank you. Cher, we thank you, of course. This is true. So again, thank you everybody in the old comment section and the chat. Made it fun again. Everybody ripping through. It's nice to have that. When you don't have the lull, you don't have this, that. I mean, even if you're not talking about what we're talking about, we see it. Guess what? We can jump over to that and maybe talk about something that you guys are interested in too. And we appreciate you a lot.
Sheesh.
Let's go. So, I want to thank you. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We take any sort of donation. Super chat, which we can't have. Venmo, crypto wallet, PayPal, Western Union, EMT, money order, well-concealed cash, even rolls of pennies.
Cash app.
Yeah, Cash App. We've got Zelle. It's another one. What else? What else, Steve?
Check.
That was good. Check. Yeah. We're not going to wait for it to clear though.
Boy,
No post-data checks.
No, please no. Large satchels of possible currency with dollar signs on the outside of said satchel. Those are always fun. So we got to remember our OnlyFans. We don't have our OnlyFans. Come on now. MySpace, AOL Instant Messenger. You can hit us up there. MSN Instant Messenger.
Discord.
Discord. Obviously, that's a big one.
don't forget Twitch.
Yeah, so our new sponsorship with Twitch.
Oh, we forgot wire transfer. Thank you, Carlos.
Wire transfer. That's right.
I don't know what ICQ is. I know DQ.
Of course, because it's food.
Love the DQ.
Chicken strips on a blizzard. Come on.
Had that a few weeks ago.
Flame broiled burger. Yum.
Best burger.
Anyways.
So again, thank everybody for joining us tonight. Remember, he's Steve. And remember, I'm in the shadows, but I'm Dave. This has been the Insert Revolution podcast. Collecting cards is a great hobby. The friendships you forge along the way, that's what it's all about, folks. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.